Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit, too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
We're going to teabag fight.
Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
And hello, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us here on the session, the Monday session.
Good evening. You're welcome.
The session. It's a gloomy crew in here today. Beardy came in gloomy. JP's a little gloomy.
Am I giving you the gloomy air? I am a little gloomy, I was trying not to. I was trying not to give off that scent of gloominess.
You're the second person that's told me that today.
Yeah, you came in a little gloomy too.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel fine.
Okay.
Well, I'm having a party inside.
You are?
Yeah.
I thought you were dead, Tacey, because usually you either give me notice that you won't be here, or I see you out in the bar, and I didn't see you anywhere.
I didn't peruse the window out here. Yeah, I didn't see you.
It's always my first choice. If I don't, 'cause you're pretty good about letting me know what's happening. So
no, I wouldn't let you know
if you're not here, my first choice is always shit. Tastey's dead.
He's dead.
That's right.
He literally asked me if he died.
Occam's razor, right? Just the simplest solution.
You don't check to see if he's dead.
I just assume.
Yeah. Nope, he's dead.
That kind of thinking is why people used to be buried with bells. So in case they were accidentally buried, they could ring the bell.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
Right.
I'm not dead.
Yeah. I'm like already claiming Tastey's things. Yeah.
I like that hat he wears. I'm going to take that.
It's all those hats he has.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're not dead, and maybe we can cheer everybody up with a great show we got planned tonight.
There's always hope.
Yeah. Well, you're just so consumed with your work when I came in that I was like, okay, Justin wants his alone time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have no distractions from my own personal demons, and then that just kind of happens. So
I'm sorry. I was trying to fix our homepage. It does dumb things with images, and I'm sitting here doing math trying to fix the images.
Okay.
Didn't work.
No, it didn't go?
Still totally broken. Yeah.
That's too bad.
Now, I think I'm having yet another website built. This time.
Oh.
No.
Huh. Okay.
This one wasn't around for very long.
No. Well, this one was, I built it. So this one was a Band-Aid to get us to the real website that I want.
Oh, okay.
And because this is boring, but all the back-end stuff had to be done so that it becomes a WordPress site.
Yeah.
So that a normal human being could then build a website on top of it.
Right.
Because what it was before, no normal humans could do anything with it.
Yeah, you needed nerds, and nerds are expensive.
And not just that, it was
Didn't you need one specific nerd?
So the front end of this one was really just like I said, enough to get us to phase 2.
Right.
And anyway,
oh, shit. Web 2.0.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Wow. That's how good, that's how on top of things we are. We're just now approaching Web 2.0, which is, it's almost obsolete now, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
We're on to Web 3.0.
Or you could just say you reinvented the internet.
Which I did, or I'm about to do it.
Yeah. The world's not ready for it.
Yeah, right.
I did reinvent the internet to be a shitty place. Anyway, that's what I was doing when you came in. I wasn't all that focused. I was perplexed.
Oh, okay. That's too bad.
By my own work.
That's too bad.
On tonight's show, Marshal Schott from Brulosophy is joining us again with another blind triangle test. And this time he's being quite secretive about it. He doesn't want us...
he's not even here.
He's He's so secretive. He's not even. Yeah, he is here. He's invisible. Tasty.
Okay.
Oh,
wow.
He's watching.
So there I go, assuming too much.
So we're doing. I don't even know the top. He wants us so unbiased by this test that I'm not even aware of what the topic of what we're looking for in the triangle test.
No idea.
He's going to set it all up. Bevo's the only person who knows because she's got to pour the beer for us.
And let's be clear, I don't understand half of it.
And Marshall probably knows that. He was like, he probably like patted you on the head.
He did. I was like, can I have some information? He's like, oh, okay, here you go.
Yeah. You just pour the beer, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, and for me, by the way, this is my first Brulosophy experience on the session.
That's right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gone for all of Marshall's other appearances, and so I'm excited to get to be a part of the triangle test this time.
You say that now.
That's a cool thing. I enjoyed it, and he knows a lot about his stuff. So like when I'm talking to him, I'm like, so what do you want to talk about? Well, I don't know, whatever. Okay, but no, well, like really, what do you want to talk about? Yeah. Oh, we can talk about this or this thing or whatever. I'm down for whatever you guys want to talk about.
Right.
He just knows so much from doing all these experiments and all these kind of, I don't want to call them rumors, but things that we've always been taught about brewing and recipe formulation and how equipment works and what equipment to use when and all this kind of timing stuff.
Yeah.
That he's just like, whatever. So he can kind of just go off. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'm excited to be here for it this time.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Marshall on from Brulosophy, and we're also going to do a quick follow-up on our turbid mash segment that we did with...
Turban mash?
Oh, nice.
Turbid mash.
No.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, mash for 45 minutes.
Controversial. Turbid mash that we did with Vito DeLucci and Matt Sager, two guys from the local homebrew club Doze. They're bringing in the beer that they discussed with us during the Turbid Mash show. So now we're actually going to try.
Didn't we have some beer, or wasn't it like not carbonated or something? Weren't we drinking something?
They brought some older ones, and then
that were not from the experiment.
Okay.
Well, they've done a couple iterations of the experiment, tweaking, and so they had one that wasn't ready.
Oh, okay.
When they were here.
So just a quick follow-up. We'll have them come in. We'll recap what they did real quick and then taste the beer. So we got that coming up here in a little bit just to learn a little more about turbid mashing and whether or not it's worth doing.
Great.
Because I think that was what sort of happened at the end of the last segment is we weren't, at least us as brewcasters, weren't really able to say if we thought it was worth doing. And now I think they've got the results of the brews for us to taste. All right. Just a couple of quick announcements for you. It's going to be Black Friday here at the Hop Grenade this Friday. 20% off every single bottle that we sell and all of our merchandise. So if you're local to the Hop Grenade, come out. You're going to be out doing dumb things anyway with your money on Black Friday. So we wanted to get in on that action and give you some deals on beer since you'll need it after fighting the crowds all day. So come on over to the Hop Grenade if you're local. Friday, 20% off bottles. I think you got to buy 2 or more or something like that. And then merchandise, too. We got some cool stuff. So start your shopping here at the Hop Grenade. What else do I have for you? Oh, don't forget Blickman is doing that giveaway. A Brew Easy system. First time ever that they've given away a grand prize like that. They're giving away a Brew Easy system this holiday season. The winner will be announced the week before Christmas. And other prizes, they're going to draw a few things like a Quick Carb, a Conical, a Hellfire Burner, a Brew Vision thermometer. So they're giving away a few things. And
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and all you got to do is go over to blickmanengineering.com and sign up. I think it's probably their newsletter or something like that. Just enter your email, and a chance to win that Brew Easy system is really sweet. So go check that out, and don't forget to visit the Blickman folks. Also, you can support the BN. Just do your shopping over on Amazon by clicking the Amazon link on our homepage. Save it into your bookmarks, and then make it easy. And then every time you shop, you don't even have to think about us, but we'll get a little piece of your money, and we like that. A lot of you do that, and we appreciate it. It's a real easy way for you to help us out. You could also subscribe and join the BN Army, and that gives you a chance to win $100 from our wonderful sponsor, More Beer. They bring you this session and every session that we do, and they give away $100 every month to a member of the BN Army. Just click the donate button on our homepage, and for as little as $2 a month, you can support us and be entered to win. The more you donate, the more you're entered. And plus, you get our newsletter then, which actually goes out every single month. Been doing that since since we hired somebody who's capable of doing it.
That's
the
true.
Same newsletter goes out every single month.
Yeah,
Same thing. Recycle that content. It's called green content in the business, by the way. Evergreen. Yeah.
Thank you. That's
so green.
Yeah.
I thought you meant because it's paperless. We don't do like mailers. That's why it's green
it's
content.
called evergreen because it's always good, baby.
And you get dibs, like first dibs on tickets, to our anniversary party and all sorts of things like
and
that.
And the gift too essential we can't even describe it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But we give it to you when we see you in person.
Exactly.
So just hit the donate button if you would, and that helps us do things like give you a new website that works and looks cool.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
You can get updates and things and pictures and jokes if you sign up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, which is cool photos from Kim Shipke.
No Snapchat?
No Snapchat. Is that a thing that companies do now, too? Snapchat?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but they do.
I don't think any of us know how to work Snapchat.
Nope.
I downloaded it once.
I did too, and I uninstalled it because I couldn't figure it out, and I felt
Yeah,
stupid and
I
old.
was like, God, I'm really old. All right. If you want to send us feedback, you can send it to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. You can send your show ideas to bevo@thebrewingnetwork.com. That's 2 E's, by the way. Any idiots don't know how to spell Bevo. Bevo@thebrewingnetwork.com. And send everything else over to JP@thebrewingnetwork.com. He'll be happy to read it and forget it.
That's forget what?
Do we have a Twitter game today?
We sure do, Justin. Yes, we do.
You know I love it when we have a Twitter game, and so does Wine and Hop Shop. The good folks over at Wine and Hop Shop, locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Great friendly service with over 50 combined years of brewing experience. That's almost as much experience as Tasty has, I'm going to say right there. Half the staff over there has brewed professionally. And right now, Brewing Network listeners get $8 flat rate shipping on orders under $50. Just use coupon code BNShipping. BN Shipping in the notes field of the shopping cart, and that's going to give you $8 flat rate shipping. Good people over at Wine and Hop Shop. All right, what's our Twitter game?
I want you to fill in our blank today. Thanksgiving is a good excuse to blank.
Oh.
You were really busy today, huh?
I was really busy. Look, Thanksgiving's coming up. We already kind of did, us being thankful for something, which I forget what it was.
I was trying to think of what it was, too.
I can tell you.
That's all right.
I think, okay.
It's not that important.
And then, look, Thanksgiving is a good excuse to do what? Get rid of all your shitty homebrew, to, shart on the sleeping uncle who falls asleep on the couch first. I don't know. It could go, right. It could, that's for touching me 10 years ago. It could go in a myriad of ways, and I want to see, look.
All right, so Thanksgiving is a good chance for us to blank.
Thanksgiving is a good excuse to blank.
Okay.
This is a ongoing series called Fill in Our Blank.
I gotta make you a thing.
I just did it.
All right, that's our Twitter game for today. And
like it or not.
How about we do some feedback?
Let's do it.
Feedback's brought to you today by our good friend John over at the Beer Law Center. You can go to beerlawcenter.com and check it out. He takes care of our legal things. And let's be honest, we can get ourselves into some legal trouble around here.
He is a very busy man.
Man, the times I have called John from a strip club and he's like, Justin, how many times do I have to tell you? I take care of the trademark, man. Leave me alone. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, I know, but I just need to borrow $50.
And I swear this stripper has a hop grenade on her ass.
Yeah, and it's a violation. I'm about to... Okay, so John over at beerlawcenter.com. He'll take care of your trademark things and your brewery things, and he's a good guy. And he puts up with us, so come on. How bad could he be?
Right.
All right, Rich writes in, hey, Justin and the Brewcasters. So I'm plowing my way through the archives, and I'm listening to the, it's like a June 17th, 2013 episode with Victory Brewing Company. And I'm at the part where you discuss eliminating the soundboard that Moscow tried to implement. Remember how awful that was?
I do remember how awful
I didn't remember
was.
that episode until you said that, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
Did I ever give you the full backstory on that soundboard?
No. But you need
about
to right
getting
now.
rid of it, or about having it?
That was only about the fifth conversation I had about eliminating that soundboard.
Yeah.
So it started, and it started on CBS, back when we used to do the show, the hour-long version of this show on CBS.
Yeah.
And that's where we met Moscow. He was a board operator there and became the board operator for our show.
Right.
And one day, after a couple of episodes in, I start hearing weird shit in my headphones. So in other words, this soundboard appeared from Moscow, and he never even asked me if I wanted a soundboard.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
It's just like a springing or whatever.
Was it just in your headphones, or was it actually going out?
It was going on the air.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't like being mean or anything, so I quickly realized what's happening. I was perplexed for a second, but then I'm like, all right, kid, I like it when people feel involved in the show, so he's doing a soundboard thing.
Yeah.
So I let it go for a little while. And then he brings it up to me because he wants to make some change. Like, I think he wanted to move into the studio with us instead of in the control room. And I was like, and then I took that opportunity. I was like, well, not only do I not want you to move into the studio with us, but I don't like the soundboard. It's just not me. It's never been me. I guess I've listened to other shows where I like it. I like it on the Stern Show. They're good at it. But Fred's like a little weird genius, so he's something about it.
But it's because it's super relevant to what's happening. It's not generic sound effects. It's all culled from things they've either talked about or the show itself.
Right.
And that's I think the only way to really do it.
And timing. And impeccable timing.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I shut it down. He's like, well, can I try it once more? Why don't you tell me what's wrong with it? I was like, fine, you can try it once more. And after the next one, I think, it doesn't work. Well, and then we bring him over here to the BN, and lo and behold, this fucking soundboard shows up on my show. And I do the same thing, and I kind of let it go until finally on this, I don't know if it's this episode that I eliminated it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I had eliminated it several times before I finally killed it from this show.
Huh, that's weird.
He's like that friend that asked you to pass him the auxiliary. Check this out. Check out my new sound, my new playlist or whatever. I got this, and it's like jars of clay or something. You're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, he said, I was discussing eliminating the soundboard. He was clearly upset by it, and you mentioned the point that even though it didn't work out, it doesn't mean you guys won't try new things like new games, etc. And that when the new content ceases, then the listeners should worry because you've clearly stopped giving a crap about the show in general.
Right.
Okay, so he goes on to say, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here because I really don't want to antagonize anybody here. But I feel like the shows, as of late, are following that trend. Since Moscow left, we haven't really seen any games outside the Twitter game. No more Bruise Line Is It Anyway or Find the Fake. I'm not saying we necessarily need to bring all these back. Perhaps the show has matured beyond those games. But when I heard you say that line about needing to worry when new content ceases to be created, it struck a chord with me. I really hope I'm not sounding like a passive-aggressive douche. Actually, this is probably one of the least passive-aggressive criticism emails
And
we've ever
it's
gotten.
quite constructive.
Yeah,
It's still douchey, but it's not passive-aggressive, and that is the key to everything.
More just aggressive.
Yeah. Beardy feels attacked.
Right, triggered.
He goes on to say, regardless of my criticism, I love the show. I'll continue listening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, Rich makes a good point. Oh. We have done less games and less of that since Moscow has left. And honestly, I can't say it's for any particular reason. I think we should try to sneak some more games in here.
Sure.
And have a little more fun in the third segment. So I don't really have an answer for Rich of why. It just sort of has happened that way.
I don't see Rich coming up with any game.
Fuck you, Rich.
Yeah, if it's so easy, do it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we should work on bringing back some games.
Yeah.
Right? We have fun doing that.
We can do one tonight.
We can.
Boner Chicken.
Oh, we haven't played that. In a long time.
No, that's true.
I don't even know if I can get boners anymore. I'm 39 now.
Dude, I caught a glance of myself in the mirror.
Oh, don't do that.
And I'm not naked, but just like this, I kind of turned to the side and I saw all the gray hair in the temple, and for the first time, I feel 39. Like, I feel old, and I flash forwarded into my elderly years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be that old man, like, that just has that downward spiral of depression because of how old they are, and they just will never pull out of it, and I'm just going to be super depressed because I keep aging.
Well, if you made it this long
disagree with
before feeling as old as you look,
yeah,
you're doing all right.
I'm doing all right, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, your sweater, like, you look like a spring chicken today.
I feel good.
Even his old man sweater?
Yeah. He's 39, Bebo.
I'm sorry. You have pretty much the female version of what I have on.
But I am a grandma, and I admit it.
You're a grandma?
Yes.
Bevo.
I'm not going to make it that long anyway. You ever caught a glimpse of yourself in the mirror when you're boning down? You know, you're at a hotel or whatever. Like sometimes they have mirrors and stuff like that.
I tend not to look around.
Yeah, don't
for that reason.
No,
it's never good. Like, especially you watch porn and like they're generally good if you're selective. They're good-looking people,
right?
And then you see yourself and you're just like, oh Jesus, somebody move that thing.
Yeah.
Like in your head, you're like, oh, everything's hot right now, right? Because you're boning down.
Nothing is hot.
You look over, you're like, God damn, does she see me like this?
What is on her right now?
She's looking at what I'm looking at on me. I don't know how she does. This is a mess.
Right.
That's why most people do it with the lights off.
Yeah, I guess that's a good idea.
Yeah, under the covers.
I'm asleep by then, so,
When the lights are off?
By the time the lights go off?
Yeah. All right, Rich, so we're going to work on some games.
Sure.
Bring in some stuff.
We'll get right on that.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing,
I'm just
Rich.
going to sit here and play Uno.
We should do that. I'm pretty good at Uno.
This one's for you, Rich.
I'll give you that fucking reverse. I don't care.
Does anyone have a 7? Oh, that's not Uno.
Okay.
That's my new game idea.
Oh, good. You know what? For our third segment, we should just play Cards Against Humanity.
Right.
Just sit here and play it. And not read the cards out loud.
No.
All right. Erwin writes in.
Erwin R. Fletcher?
I'm already on to Erwin. Yeah, here we go, Erwin. This one's about Google Music. I'm sure others have brought this up, he says, but any plans to put the shows on Google Music? And then he goes on and on and on.
And you wonder why we don't have any feedback anymore.
I mean, I could read, but it's like the same thing over and over again. This is why Google Music, and then Google Music, and then this Google Music, and then when I do this, I can't use Google Music, and if you did this, I could use Google Music.
Cheers.
I mean, that's what it is.
Erwin, VP at Google Music.
Erwin, I mean it. I am working on this. There's just a couple stupid things. Our podcast feeds are so archaic that it's not easy like these new fucking podcasters who come in and they have these automatic fucking feed generators.
Yeah, it's so
and
easy
all
now, dude. It's so great.
So simple.
Kids these days.
And the only way I could make ours simple like that is to delete them.
Do it.
And start anew, which means all of our subscribers, those things your sponsors pay for, JP, will disappear in an instant.
They'll sign on again. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So that is always the hard part, just so you all know, listeners. Like, I could fix all these things simply, except I would delete all of you. Everybody would have to go resubscribe. And it's like I don't even think most of you who are subscribed even listen anymore. I just use you as numbers downloads.
It'd be like the end of Fight Club, where suddenly everyone is equal, and there's no...
That's what it would do.
There's no debt. There's no pressure.
I would communism the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And then we could all be free to go on, but no, we're latched to the Brewing Network.
I know. It's what we get for being listeners. Early inventors.
That's right.
I invented podcasting.
Yes, you did. You are the inventor of podcasting. You and Al Gore teamed up and did some good things.
Yeah, he invented a warm earth. I invented shitty XML feeds.
That's right. Complex
that
coding.
Don't work with Google Music.
That don't work. But Erwin, I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
He's not working on it.
I'm even working with a listener who works for Google, and because he's begging me to do it too. He's like, dude, please. Yeah. And
so they need some sort of app or something that can combine everything.
It's just now a couple of things
together.
left I have to fix. Now I think I'm down to like image sizes. I have to change all our fucking image sizes for Google.
Okay.
So I think I've solved the other issue.
The actual issue, the hard issue.
Now I'm down to image sizes or something.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know,
Size matters.
I haven't looked at it in a couple weeks.
I was going to say, now that all the big stuff's taken care of, all the onesie-twosie bullshit's never going to get done.
Yeah. Because I like a challenge.
Right.
Once I get bored with the challenge, I'm like, image sizes.
Yeah. Wait, it's almost done?
Give me the next hard thing to do.
VR.
That's your feedback. Brought to you today by the Beer Law Center. Hey, Tacey, have you had the new unfiltered Jolly Roger from Drake's yet? You're out there in the world.
I believe I did. I was out there on their release day and had
You
some
were?
of that, yeah.
Tell me about it. How'd you like the beer?
Really good, really flavorful. A lot of, I call it, hop flavor, really hop forward and hop flavor.
It's one of the things I like about that beer because it's it's a dark beer, right?
Yeah.
And it's very malty, but somehow they are really able to get a bunch of hop aroma and flavor popping out of that thing.
Well, they really loaded up.
Well, it's an annual release, and it's available now. Don't forget to go check it out at your favorite local place or go down to any of the Drake's locations. Have you been to the new Triple Rock, Tacey, since they finished the expansion?
I finally got there last Wednesday, I believe.
How'd you like it?
It was great, man. They took the old side and kept it fairly old, you know?
They did, okay.
It's all kind of bit cleaned up and a little bit darker, not in a good way, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then the other side just great.
Did they knock out the entire wall so that it's one big space, or there's like an entryway to the other side?
There's two entryways, one in the front, one in the back.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I got to go check it out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out for sure.
Drake's is doing cool things. You can go to the Drake's Brewery that has the barrel room right there, tasting room. Yeah. You can go to Drake's dealership, which, frankly, maybe even in line with my place, I think it's one of the most beautiful places to sit really and have a beer. Their beer garden is just gorgeous there. And you can go to Triple Rock and get...
and then Jupiter's.
Oh, and Jupiter as well. That's right.
One of the best patios in the Bay Area, for sure.
But check out right now, the unfiltered Jolly Roger for 2016 is available for you to go taste and enjoy.
Taste.
Yeah, taste it. Enjoy it.
Really taste it.
All right, like I said, we got a great show planned for you today. We got Brulosophy on the program. Marshall's going to teach us a thing or two. When we come back, we're going to talk to Vito and Matt from our local homebrew club about turbid mashing. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
The Vault, created by White Labs. The Vault is a collection of new, creative, and unique yeast strains from around the world. These strains have never been available to homebrewers. Most have not even been available to professionals. You have the power to release the yeast. Through The Vault, White Labs is giving you the power to decide which strains are put into production and giving you the opportunity to brew with these strains. Visit whitelabs.com/thevault and pre-order the yeast strain of your choice and encourage your friends to do the same. Once 250 pre-orders have been achieved, White Labs will put that strain into production. The strain will be mailed directly to your doorstep, ready to make the beer you've always wanted to brew. This program was created with the homebrewer in mind. White Labs is relying on you to help release these strains, which may blaze the way for future new and unique beers. Help release the yeast. Visit whitelabs.com/thevault.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, The Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff. Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers. It's freaking awesome. Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
This is Walt from Wicked Weed, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I'd also like to thank one of our very long-time sponsors from the bottom of my heart, Williams Brewing Company. They've been doing this since 1979. Not sponsoring the show, of course, but doing what they do. They've offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. They got a full lineup of intertap forward-sealing beer faucets with interchangeable spouts, as well as a new grain mill motorizing kit that features a gear motor that spins your mill at the correct 180 RPM without the need for hazardous belts. Also, the new Mark II work pump, a magnetic drive high-temp pump that starts at only $69.99, but does the jobs of pumps costing about twice as much. They got all sorts of things over at WilliamsBrewing.com, including steel bottle cappers from Italy, their own line of hydrometers, California wine kits, and so much more. Go to WilliamsBrewing.com right now and browse their vast selection. All right. In the meantime, We got Matt Sager and Vito DeLucci back in the studio, fellow Doze members, as a matter of fact, because I'm like an honorary Doze member.
Yeah, I belong there.
I show up once.
Oh yeah,
a year.
they talk about you all the time.
Right.
Where's Justin again? We haven't seen him in 364 days.
We honor him every day.
Yeah, mainly when they're building the effigy to burn. They're like,
yeah,
this asshole.
I show up for that.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
So you might remember Vito and Matt came in not too long ago to talk about their turbid mash experiment. We're going to taste and discuss the results today. But why don't we give a quick recap of what the experiment was, what turbid mashing is, of course, and just kind of briefly bring people back up to speed.
Sure, yeah. This is Matt, by the way.
Yeah.
So we decided that we wanted to do sort of a traditional turbid-style mash for a lambic-style beer. Vito and I had both, at separate times, gone to Belgium, and we were very inspired by, obviously, going to Cantillon, going to Boone, and all that. So wanted to come back and give it a try. So did a lot of research and came up with a process that took all day long. It was kind of a headache, but it was fun.
If we go back just one step, why would you want to do a turbid mash?
Well, the process involves creating a lot of dextrinous wort.
And what does that do for the final product? What's the intent there? What do you do?
The intent is that you want plenty of dextrins for the lactobacillus and Brettanomyces to chew on.
The more of that they get, the better. What happens?
The funkier the beer, the more sour the beer you're going to get. So
that's what you picked. That piqued your interest when you were in Europe.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So how'd you set out and do this? What was the plan here?
Well, it started with Vito and I getting together, saying, "Hey, let's do this." And Vito.
Yeah, initially it was just kind of having fun, trying it out, new thing, and then that's when let's put some science behind this and do a side-by-side comparison to see, is it worth the extra 3-4 hours?
A side-by-side of turbid versus a step mash.
Because, one would say, why not just mash high, right, and then create more dextrins rather than do a turbid mash.
Right.
Okay, so you did a side-by-side. You did both.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last time, what did we taste the last time? It was not the actual beers that you had run during the experiment.
Oh, no, it was, but it was only like 3 months old at that point. So it really wasn't fair to say. I think they tasted both very similar.
Because what we're looking for is the effect on this sourness, like you just mentioned, right? So without much time for the bugs to have done their work, okay, now I'm remembering. It just didn't give us a good sample of time for the sourness to come out, or even just some Brettanomyces characteristics. Any of that didn't have enough time to come out. So now, how long has it been?
About 9 months.
Okay.
That this is set. So it could even go another 2-3 months. But I think at this point we could draw a conclusion.
I still have the Carboys in my closet, and they have a nice big thick pellicle layer on top. So still kind of waiting. We pulled these off though, and we thought that the side by side really gave a good comparison between the two. And my wife wants those out of the closet. So.
Well, and I have to make an assumption about you, Matt. All right, so Matt is a professional brewer as well at the newly opened Danville Brewing Company.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm excited to get down there. 2 months old.
Yeah.
I hear you can't make enough beer already.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's just flying out of the tanks.
So the assumption I have to make is that you want the traditional method to not be any more successful than a faster brew day method, as a brewer in general, right? The traditional method is romantic, and sure, there's some part of your beer nerd brain that it can only be done one way to really get it right. But you'd be lying if you told me that you didn't want it to be easier, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I wanted a quick, fast brew day but we'll find out here.
Yeah.
But
if we're going to follow scientific method, though, you can't have any bias, right? You have to come at it with an unbiased opinion.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I believe he'll be honest about the answer and then just blow off the results. Because okay, so I've got 3 beers in front of me. We all do. Could you explain to me what we have here?
I'll explain the first one.
Okay.
So the first one is a memberberry lambic. It's actually
you know what a memberberry is?
That's such a timely joke.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember. You remember Chewbacca? You remember
South
Yoda?
Park thing.
Yeah, it's the South Park.
Where like everyone's taking these member berries and they're stuck in the past and they can't move forward.
I see.
They have really cute voices like, "Oh, you remember Ewoks?" And then they're all like, "I remember." And it's like they're grapes, right? And so everyone's like eating these. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Wow, I'm really missing out not watching South Park.
You are.
I told you, Schumann ruined.
I felt just like Schumann right there.
And Schumann ruined South Park for me so long ago because he would always do what just happened. Hey, did you see the one South Park with the such and such? Check this out. And then he would proceed to rewrite the whole script for me in description form.
Now he's just making you watch videos. Like I was at his house the other day and he goes, "Hey, you know Bill Burr? I've heard of him, but I haven't." Oh man, he does this one bit, and he gives me like 3 minutes in the bit. He goes, "Here," and he pulls his phone out, and it's a 6-minute clip, and he's holding it like this, and I'm like, "Motherfucker!" I'm stuck.
All right. Note to folks who can't tell good stories. Here's what you do.
The internet.
Hey, have you seen that Bill Burr skit? No. You should check it out.
It's great.
That's it.
Stop there.
That's all it requires. I might even go check it out. Yeah. But the more you tell me some long, shitty story or make me stand in the middle of my bar looking at your shitty, dirty phone, the less likely I am to go check out that skit later. All right, that being said.
So, yeah, it's actually a raspberry, but I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, so
Very
check
funny.
out the memberberry Chewbacca video.
There you go.
They're laughing their asses off.
All right, so that's the first beer.
Mm-hmm. And that's a blend of the very first batch that we did with Nate and Adam Thomas from Tahoe Mountain, and then some of the new one as well. So it's just kind of Franken beer of that.
Okay.
And then the other two are still lambics from the actual scientific side-by-side step mash, turbid mash.
One of them's step, one of them's turbid.
Right. And
don't tell us which.
Okay.
I mean, what's the point? We'll figure it out after. All right. So we're trying the first one just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah.
Okay.
We
Nice blend
thought
that
it turned out really well.
It smells really good. Yeah. And it looks good. It's got like a light pink, like a rosé color to it.
Mm-hmm. Remember rosé?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's nice beer.
Yeah. We're real proud of it. We like how it turned out.
That's a good blend. It's got some complexity to it. It's weird. The sweetness comes in at the very end. A little sourness right up front, which I like. That's how I like my beer. Sour right in the beginning. And then it kind of rounds out with some sweetness. And now, even a minute later, it dries out again.
Yeah.
I like this beer.
That was a fun day, our blending day, when we got together and we put we had 8 different iterations of this project that we did. That we just went down the line and tried them and thought, okay, so let's push that one aside, but we'll have maybe 30% of this one and 20% of this one. And that was fun.
It's all about the blending, right?
Yeah.
In a beer like this.
This is a blend, yeah.
Okay.
There's all that. Some of them dregs from different bottles that we drank that day. Yeah. So definitely.
What did you hop this with? Did you hop this with like fresh hop pellets, or did you use old hops on this?
Super old hops.
You did?
Yeah. They were Nate's hops that he had in a plastic bag in his attic. Yeah,
I believe.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, kept in his attic. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I just asked because there's kind of a firm bitterness, I feel like, in the aftertaste of this. So I was wondering, I always hear about people using old hops.
Sure.
I don't know that I could ever taste a difference between a fresh hop lambic like this or an old hop lambic like this one. Yeah.
So some of this that went into it, too, probably 30-40% came from the second batch, which we used 2-3-year-old Mosaic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which has 15, 14 alpha acids. So
yeah, okay.
You're totally on point with what you're tasting, probably.
That's a nice beer.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now we've got the other two, which, of course, they look identical. The only difference between these two beers is one was done with a traditional turbid mash, which you could, if you just go to thebrewingnetwork.com, you haven't listened to that show, you can type in turbid mash into the search field, and you're going to find the show that we did, and you can learn all about what a turbid mash is. And then the other one was done just with mash temperatures. I have that right?
Yep.
Okay, which is what? You a higher mash temp?
No, we did a step mash, so we went through all the, from 113 to 126 to 150 to 160, all the way up. Yeah. The only difference is with the turbid mash, you're not utilizing technology. Really, you're pulling wort out and you're replacing what you pulled off with boiling water to bring your temperature up.
Got it. Okay.
Sounds complicated.
It's all coming back to me.
Requires 4 vessels.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have Alzheimer's.
It's all coming back to me as long as you don't ask me any more in-depth questions from this point on about that show. I remember everything.
It's all of what you've told me tonight is coming back to me.
It's coming back to me right now.
Remember that show? Did I do it right?
Nice work, Beardy.
You did okay.
Oh, okay.
7 out of 10.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's better than a 6.
So yeah, I think we mentioned this. This is a still lambic, a straight still lambic.
Yeah, no carbonation.
So what are we doing here? Drinking both and trying to figure it out right now, or just kind of enjoying it?
Well,
what should we try to do?
Yes to all.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to figure it out, or
we don't get to try to enjoy things.
I would say even as little as talking about what the differences between the two beers are, if any. Mm-hmm. And as much, if you want, to try to guess which one was done traditionally. But I don't even know that that's necessary. I think if we could just try to identify some differences.
Well, I think one of them is, which is the middle one here, the first one, I guess, is less bitter and kind of astringent than the second one.
Okay.
But I guess it's not astringency so much as maybe it's like hardcore bitterness, or maybe it is like aspirin.
Oh, yeah. Is that is aspirin the same as like an acrid flavor?
Yeah, but it's like a bitterness astringency thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it comes from. Cause
I think that's a good description.
It would take a recognized homebrew judge to tell you that.
Do you know any?
No.
Nobody looks familiar here to me.
So you're saying the middle one is less bitter.
Yes, less so.
And the one on the end is a little more of that aspirin. I agree with you. As an unrecognized anything, I agree with everything you've said.
And the middle one has like a much more rounder mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
I
also,
like silkier, you know what I mean? And the last one is kind of monochromatic in a way.
Do you guys get more lactic acid from one than the other?
I don't know what's lactic acid.
God damn it. As an unrecognized judge, JP, I have no fucking clue.
I describe it as...
That's a good question, actually.
Sour. It's one more sour than the other.
It's one more sour.
The lactic acid that you get from... when you taste a kettle soured beer that's just lactic, I get a lot of grapefruit pith.
Totally, yeah.
There's extra esters here you wouldn't get from sour mash.
I think I get more pithy character from the first one, the middle one.
Okay.
I'm not. I guess should we guess at which one's which, or do we want to wait on that?
You can guess if you want.
Sure. I think the middle one is the turbid.
Okay.
It's more pithy. It does have a slight bit of haze to it compared to the other one. It's still clear, but if you look, it catches a bit more light than the other one. And the second one, the end one, is a bit thinner, and I guess you could say you perceive more acid, but I don't think there's any actual difference in terms of acidity. It's just the lack of pithy, lingering bitterness from the first one covers that up.
In the middle one, now that you mentioned, I kind of swished it around, and I got a lot of like grapefruit pith, the white part of the grapefruit kind of thing, faster than I did in the second sample, or in the last sample.
Like it builds, or what do you mean?
In the last one, it builds, and it's more at the end. Where then this one, I get it now, maybe because it's warming up, maybe because I swished it, maybe both. I get it kind of faster.
In the first one, to me, it's mouth coating, where it's just all over and just super pithy.
And the second one kind of builds a little bit.
Yeah, it's there, but it takes a bit.
Yeah,
more.
it's weird, but it's the same exact flavor.
You Yeah, I think the flavor we're getting is like astringency or mouthfeel. It's probably dextrins that have not been fully consumed yet. This beer has some ways to go, right?
Yeah, like I said, there was still a nice, big, thick pellicle on
so
top.
that
And
just means-
this is still 9 months old.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think about packaging all this until that
right.
away.
They're both way clearer than they were the last time you guys were here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looked like basically you're drinking a pint of what it looked like last time.
Yeah.
Cloudy and like dishwater.
Yeah.
That's the new Danville Brewing beer, JP.
Oh shit! I think it looks amazing.
Dick
should go
move,
down to
JP.
Danville.
Dick move.
That will not be a product.
I'm kidding.
No,
that's not what's in this.
not
glass.
happening.
Okay. Well, do you want to reveal which one is the turbid mash?
Yeah. So the first one is actually the step mash, and the third one is the turbid.
So the middle one was the
middle
step.
one.
Yeah, here, let's take the first one.
I
we
knew
took
I
out
should
of
have
it
disagreed
and
with
just
you
do the one,
guys
too.
and said, no, it's the other way around.
Right. No. The middle
Interesting.
one is the step.
Okay. I think the differences are
interesting.
Are small enough, in my very humble opinion, that I wouldn't do the whole thing. I wouldn't do the whole turbid thing.
Well,
They both
it's not
finished
done
up.
yet.
Okay.
It's not done yet. And
Oh, that's true.
And
Yeah.
I'm probably rationalizing here and supporting my own theory here, because the one that was turbid mashed has more of that pithy sort of like pasty or aftertaste.
Agreed. Yeah.
And to me, that's what the bugs are going to go after.
Okay.
Over this last phase of the ferment.
I'll tell you, as I'm sitting here drinking these both, and it's sitting on my palate, it's really like, I hate to use the word juicy, but it is. It's like grapefruit juice pith.
Yeah.
That just kind of sits there.
I love
like
that
you said,
brand of sweatpants.
What was the time difference between brews on these?
Same day.
It was the same day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
long day.
So, and the point of doing this is to give the bugs more food to eat on.
That's
right?
exactly it.
So yeah, I think Tasty's right. It's not done, so we can't really call it yet, because in 6 months or when are these going to be fully realized? 12 years?
When the beer's ready, right?
Oh, don't worry. We will still be here in 12 years.
We should really do more games.
Otherwise.
I'm like I said, I'm opening the closet, checking it every day, and there's I don't want to disturb the pellicle too much. We pulled some off the other day.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, my wife kind of wants those carboys out of the closet too, so that maybe
takes up a lot of space on the floor.
So in other words, this experiment is done.
Yeah, right. So we'll never know.
Can't you build like a shoe rack around it?
Yeah, right? Something.
To me, this difference is significant to where
I think so.
I would prefer the turbid mash. I don't like the strong pithiness in the first one.
But if that's unrealized dextrins, right? That's all going to fade out.
It could
and
be
go away,
exactly
right?
what turns it into a great blend.
It's going to be the difference.
The bugs have had the same amount of time.
Yeah, but if one has more dextrins for the bugs to eat, if the turbid mash one than the other, then it will taste better after they're eaten. Whereas the other one has nothing left to eat, is the theory. So it won't continue to change in the same way.
So you're saying the pithy
as the
step
turbid
mash one will not change.
Correct.
Right, and I'm saying I already like the turbid mash one more.
I see.
So I like the one that's going to continue to get better. Right.
Yeah.
You like the one that is stuck in its ways.
I don't care. Actually,
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think the turbid is better at this point. Even
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we bottled
I
these
see.
the other day, we also took a gravity, and they're right there. They're
pretty similar.
Okay.
Yeah. I to me, not that I'm going to do one of these beers ever, but
Now we have to have
if I were-
goddamn Matt and Vito in again in another 6 months to try the
Oh,
beer.
darn.
Thanks to you, Beardy.
Did everyone else think that the step mash was better?
I like the second one better. I think the acid's more present. It's more bright.
The turbid.
Yes.
Yeah, the turbid. I think that the pithy thing, the second or the first, fuck the grapefruit one, because that's fucking me up. The first one that we
It's
had.
not grapefruit, it's member berry.
Sorry. I'll give you a member berry.
God, Vito. What did you do?
Hanging, swinging. My member berries are swinging.
Well, you're 39.
That's right. The first one we had is like, I don't know, man. Drinking it now, like I said, it might be warming up. Maybe I'm biased now, but that's more astringent and less balanced. And the turbid one is kind of coalescing into this thing that's more reminiscent of a sour beer right now. So, and I wonder if it's maybe. I wonder if the flavors that you're getting, that I'm getting on my palate from the first one to the second one, they shift. Like those pithy things are like mid palate. They're kind of right up front with the step mash, and with the turbid mash, they're kind of more at the end. And I wonder if that's either a result of the process or how the bugs are consuming the sugars in the turbid. Maybe they're, or the dextrins are eating them first, and so it's pushing more malt forward. If that makes any sense, I don't understand. But I think I might actually agree with Warren for once.
Well, welcome to being right.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like I think it should.
The lonely world.
It never does.
Yeah.
It never does.
I need more confetti.
Yeah.
I can't taste the difference enough. I do think it'll be interesting to taste it again after even more time.
Well, and that's the question, right? Are we perceiving the differences because we're told to look for the differences?
Right.
Like, what if we did a triangle test with this?
Yeah.
I think the level of pith is pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
I can see definitely some people liking the first one, that amount.
Yeah.
Some palates, people would be totally into that. It's not my style.
Some palates.
Right. So I think this would... People would pass the triangle test in this most of the time.
Okay. I don't know that I would pass it, but might have to do that next time, guys.
And this really was one of the reasons I wanted to do this, was to see if it would be something that I'd want to waste time, money, sweat, and headache on a professional scale.
And that's part of why I'm trying to put it into perspective, too. Like, even if there's a difference, like Beardy's got a really good palate, and if he can, and JP's got a nice palate, and if they can taste subtle differences,
but not really good.
But how much different, for the rest of us, for the people who are going to consume your beer, are they large enough for you to spend your time doing it? Which I think is an important part of this. Beardy seems to think yes.
Well, I think it depends on what flavors you're going for.
Yeah.
I think people will buy both of those beers.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you want.
Well, I mean, I think that's also what Marshall and the Brulosophy crew does, is they'll bring it to the bar. Like if they come in the studio for a show, they'll bring the beers and do triangle tests in the bar for your average people who necessarily don't notice a lot of terrible off flavors in hazy beers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of, you have two goals, right? If you're going to go pro and you want to try to take your recipes to a broader commercial audience, that's very different than if you're a home brewer trying to dial in your things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because like you just said, if you're just a normal average Joe consumer, are you going to notice the differences? I don't know. Maybe you would if the differences are right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But how often do you drink two sour beers from two different breweries at the same time?
Right.
Every night.
Science. Or, any beer, you're not generally double fisting.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder to figure that stuff out. And then you would have to know one does a step mash and the other does a turbid mash. And you're not going to know all these as an average consumer.
So let me ask you to do this then, just for fun. Because I think Beardy's done it, and I think I've done it. I'm saying no need to do a turbid mash. I think the beer, in my opinion, the differences are subtle enough that I personally wouldn't choose to do it. The type of brewer that I am.
I'll give you.
Are you aware of
horrible
what comparison you're making
what
right
you
now?
just said?
Yeah. If you want to brew beer like Justin,
don't do it.
Which is never.
Don't bother doing it. So there's my stamp of approval.
Don't go the extra 9 yards. It never pays off.
Yeah.
No, it'll never.
Beardy
My
says,
dad told me a long time ago.
Beardy
Don't sell anything.
Yeah, of course. He never pays off.
No.
Beardy says do it. Right?
Yeah. I think I would do it.
Okay.
I don't want the extra pithiness in my beer.
Tasty?
What?
Type of brewer you are. If you were going to do this style of beer, would you turbid mash after tasting this or not? Or save your time?
Well, yeah. If I was a commercial lambic brewer, sour beer maker, I would get the best way.
You'd save your time. What about as a home brewer?
Home brewer, I would go buy some maltodextrin, do a single step mash. Added it.
So no turbid mash for you.
No, but I can get more dextrins by just adding it, by scooping it in.
Okay. That being said, Vito's won awards on his homebrewed lambic-style beer doing just that.
Just that. Oh, excellent.
Exactly.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
That'd be one if you could have did one other thing, was 3 mashes in one day. Let's have that beer.
Yeah.
And we could kind of compare that.
Throw a little gnocchi in the mash.
But you had good success getting that sort of late.
Well, from the Doe's annual championship of 4 brewers, he won the award. So I'm kidding. I don't know, man.
Only the largest homebrew competition in the country. JP.
Vito's been on the big stage.
But you guys were too fucking lazy that day to do a third mash.
Wow. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. You and your family.
Again, I'm going to blame my wife.
Don't come back until you do 3 mashes in one day.
And JP, do it or don't do it?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I would try it. I would try it both ways, personally, as a home brewer.
They did, and we did.
No, but I would do it just for the process. Like, I like a kind of process-oriented person.
Pretend you did these. What would you say?
I like doing them. I would probably do this. I'd probably do the step mash. Who am I fooling? I would do the step mash. I don't want to sit and boil fucking water and spill it on me, and I don't want to do all that shit.
Matt,
you have a pico brew.
I have a pico brew. Goddammit. I want my brew day. I don't want to just spend it now just boiling extra water. And what are you doing? Oh, I'm brewing. I'm lifting. I'm getting a herniated disc. It's fine. No, I don't want that. I want to play video games.
Matt, what's your conclusion?
I'm already figuring out the logistics to do it.
Yeah. You think
turbid
it's worth
mash?
It? Yeah.
Turbid mash. Yeah.
Really? You think it's worth it?
I'd like to do it at least once.
Well, check Danville Brewing Company off the list of places to go because the brewer doesn't know.
We're not going to have you sour beer for a while.
Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So sour beer at Danville in 7 years.
Red Barrel turns them out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
What would he do?
We should ask. It's probably been covered.
They do a step mash.
Probably a show you could listen to.
We should do a
called
show.
Sour Hour.
Yeah, we should do that.
Vito?
From a homebrew perspective, it's an hour or 2 extra. You're doing it once a year generally for a lambic, I'm going to add that 2 hours. Between these two, definitely one has more lactic. It tastes better to me. I'm going to add that 2 hours on there. Like Matt said, I've been successful just doing the old step mash, but I think it's worth it. I think that's my final conclusion for sure.
Okay. The only other conclusion I've drawn here today is this for you beer geeks out there. Never try to introduce a non-beer geek friend of yours to the sour beer style with a straight lambic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Don't ever do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know, you get all excited about sours, and you're all into them, and your friend comes over, and, the one bottle you have is a straight lambic, and you want to share it?
Yeah.
Don't.
Right.
Get the Lindemans.
It is a difficult style to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And I'm a sour fan. Straight lambics are my least favorite of the sour style, for a lot of reasons. It's a difficult style to get your head around.
And you're not a very good communicator. So I feel like you would have a hard time explaining.
Oh, yeah. I would just be like, you don't like it? You fucking idiot.
Here, I got something really special for you. What is it? Just fucking drink it!
Drink it! Yeah, it's just so... Kidding. It's so...
bizarre.
It's a bizarre style.
That's the point. I mean, the art of this is blending, right? That's what it all comes down to, is blending and that. I mean, just the straight lambics are... that's your canvas, but you create art,
I kind of just wanted to put a fine point on it, because sometimes us beer geeks can get so carried away and excited about our weird styles. Yeah, don't share this one with people. Unless you know that they're like you.
Right. Then they're going to be like, well, this is flat. It's supposed to be flat.
And even if they are sour beer fans, I've had sour beer fans that I've introduced to straight lambic.
Yeah.
And there's like...
right.
Like this is sour? Are you sure?
And you're like, yeah, this is like the godfather of sour.
Right, this is where sour started.
Yeah.
And this bottle is $75. You better enjoy it.
All right, guys. Well, great experiment. Thank you for bringing it back in for us to try. And keep us abreast of the situation. If the beer, if you guys do find that you're tasting it down the road and you do taste a real difference, I'd be interested in trying it again.
Cool.
You know?
Because we didn't taste a real difference today.
No.
I definitely want to taste them when they have more age on them, for sure.
Yeah.
Can you take them to the brewery and finish this experiment? Or
yeah, you don't. Who needs your closet anymore? You have a whole brewery.
Yeah, I know.
The brewery's your closet.
Right.
You hang your underwear there now, and you're probably there enough for that. You got to do your laundry and the mash done.
Oh, you brewing today? No! Washing!
It's washing.
It's washing.
All right, go check out the new Danville Brewing Company.
Please.
If you're local and you need a homebrew club, check out Doe's, my favorite club in the Bay Area. Doe's. And, thanks again, guys. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Marshall from Brulosophy. We're going to do another taste test. This one, a blind triangle taste test. So get your palates ready, folks. Hang in there. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com. Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on two gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy. If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewers
Brewers Association at craftbeer.com. Also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Hey, motherfuckers, this is Doug from fucking Society. You're listening to the session on the fucking Brewing Network. Fuck you.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for hanging out with us here on your, whatever day of the week it is that you're listening. Hey, don't forget about the new Brew Guru app from the American Homebrewers Association. Built for homebrewers and beer lovers, the Brew Guru delivers sage brewing knowledge and money-saving deals at breweries, beer bars, and homebrew supply shops. The AHA designed this powerful app to help homebrewers and craft beer lovers explore the wide world of beer. With the app, you can effortlessly find and save money on beers, food, and brewing supplies. Level up your brewing IQ with hand-picked articles, proven recipes, and trusted resources from the AHA and Zymergy magazine, and use the powerful brewery locator to find nearby breweries, tap rooms, beer bars, homebrew supply shops, and brew pubs. Wherever you are, Brew Guru will lead you to good beer. Get the app today and follow the path to beer enlightenment. It's free for iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. Learn more over at homebrewersassociation.org.
.org for organization. I love organization, and I love organs. Yeah.
Do I have to pay you more for jingles?
Yes, you do.
Because you, sir, have a gift.
Oh, thank you very much. It's my voice. It's my instrument. It's my tool, and I keep it really tuned.
It is your tool.
Thank you.
All right. Speaking of tool... I kid, Marshall. Hi. Marshall from Brulosophy is on the program. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
Hey, I'm glad to finally be on a show with you.
Yeah, likewise. Good to have you on.
Thanks for coming to a Marshall's show.
For a little while, I did consider changing the name of the show to Marshall's. You know,
I hear there's a store called Marshall's.
That's true. We're used to copyright problems.
Yeah,
we have a lawyer.
All right. So Marshall has an experiment for us today. And Marshall, I was kind of explaining this at the beginning of the show. Today's triangle test is so secretive that we don't know what it's about. And so you're going to have to explain to us what's going on, what's in your head, and why we don't know much about what's in front of us.
Sure. Yeah, that's so. The way typical when you're doing sensory analysis, the way a typical triangle test works is that you present the tasters with. Let's see here. With the samples, and those tasters are blind to everything that's sort of going on with the experiment. So they don't know what the style is, they don't know what the variable is, and their job.
Beardy, put that cup down, Beardy. We were not yet instructed to smell, even look at it.
Yeah,
and swat him.
Oh, I definitely wasn't looking at it.
Carry on, Marshall. I'm sorry. Sorry for
no,
these
it's all good.
Hooligans.
So yeah. And so you're blind to the variable of the experiment. You're blind to the style of the beer, and the idea is that you're asked to pick out the unique sample between there are basically 2 beers and 3 cups.
Okay.
We've all seen that video.
Hey, great video.
So 2 beers, 3 cups. Two of the cups are exactly the same beer. One of them is different. And your job is to pick out the one that's unique. And what we do is we run a statistic based on how many people were right, and that statistic pushes out a number that we call a p-value, which basically allows us to say whether or not the proportion of people who actually selected correctly was high enough above what's expected, which in this case would be 33%, to call it significant.
Got it. Wow, even I understood that, Marshall. You're good at this.
I've been practicing all day.
Okay, so this is what we have in front of us. For you listeners at home, what we're dealing with is 3 different cups that are 3 different colors. There's a red cup, a blue cup, and a green cup. And we know nothing else about the beer in front of us. So, Marshall, do we go for it?
Yeah, go for it. Well, a couple of rules is just don't talk to each other while you're doing it.
Okay.
We don't want, if Beardy thinks he's got it, he looks over at you and you always get it.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I get it.
Topic. So yeah, no crosstalk. Try to figure it out for yourself, and then when you're done, just wait till everyone else is done, and then we can chat about it.
Marshall sounds kind of like a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
No crosstalk.
Don't be so demanding.
Who's going to fill the dead air then, Marshall?
I know. Yeah, Marshall. Is it strange that I go ahead and taste?
I can sing
guys.
a song. Yeah.
Is it strange that I set my cups in a triangle for the triangle? Like I couldn't. I did that.
It has to be like this.
I swear to God, I didn't even mean to. I subconsciously just moved them into a triangle before I tasted them.
You know shapes.
I guess the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing every time I serve them. So.
See, and Marshall's smart, so.
Oh, you know what? You sent me that link, Marshall. Jesus Christ. Let me send that to everybody.
The Marshall is smart link?
I mean, we can fill it out later. We don't need to fill it out right now. Because, he sends a link to everybody. It's a quick survey.
Well, if you guys,
so that we can answer.
That way he gets our info, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I can trust you guys, if you guys just want to write it down and don't change your responses or whatever, but keep it to yourself, we can go around, maybe round the horn, and you can tell me what your responses were.
All right, I just emailed it to everybody, too. So.
Oh, cool.
All right, so I'm looking for the different one.
There is one that is different. There are 2.
One of these things is not like the other.
I like that you point out that there is like a margin there, right? Like it has to be beyond what you would,
right?
Yeah, reasonably.
It's all about the value of your pee with this guy.
Interestingly enough, scientists prefer small p values.
That makes sense.
That's why most scientists are men and not women.
Yeah. Who knows for how long?
The list goes on.
So, yeah, the idea is that when you've got a choice between 3 things, if you're randomly guessing, spinning a bottle or whatever, statistically you're going to land on a specific one of those options 33.3% of the time. And so the idea behind triangle testing, which actually, interestingly enough, I think, the p-value was developed by Guinness Brewing way back in the 1800s. Yeah, as a way to do exactly what we're doing now, to test out different variables in the brewing process and whatnot. So the idea is that if a group of participants is able to identify the unique sample a specific amount more than chance, then we can say with at least some confidence that there's likely a distinguishable difference. And that's the thing. There's the p-value gets a lot of shit these days because it doesn't and it's a good reason that what it doesn't tell us is that it doesn't say what's different. It doesn't tell us which one is better or which one's worse. It doesn't really inform decisions. What it does is it tells us whether people can tell the beers apart, which for us and our purposes in homebrewing at least is kind of fun because we've been led a lot of ways, and so we're just testing out a lot of these process variables.
Do you have to pick a beer? Are people allowed to say none of them are different?
So that's a good question. The answer is no. You have to select one, and there's a reason for that because again, so we've actually run an experiment where I served a panel. I think it was 10 or 11 of my closest friends, the same exact beer in a triangle, and had them try to identify the unique one. And I included they're all the same option, which in a traditional triangle test you can't do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we're just listening. I'm
just catching up here.
Yeah, I think that's...
I didn't know about that other option. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And and what you're doing, if you do that, essentially is you're creating a fourth condition. And so it's a triangle test, not a quadrangle test, and they're also known as a square.
Yes. I knew that.
Or a rectangle test.
A four-way triangle test.
It could be a rectangle, yeah. So
call it a triangle plus one test.
Maybe a diamond.
Right.
A rhombus.
That's true. That's not accurate enough. Could be a diamond.
Right. So you've got to select one of them. The idea being that if you force a group of people to select one option and they're all the same, that we should see things stack up in a fairly predictable, even manner. 33% for each option.
Now, when the p-value is reached, do the people that get it correct? Are they available? Are those people you would ask like additional questions, like which one do you like the best, or what do you think the difference is, or stuff like that? Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you guys open up the survey that JP sent you, you'll notice for everybody, whether you're right or wrong, and you'll have the first selection, which is the triangle test. Just which one do you think is different, and then you'll move on to a question of preference. So you'll be comparing just two of the beers, presumably the two that are different, and in that comparison, we gather that information. But what's fascinating to me is that even in our really strongly, highly significant, variables, what we're finding is that preference is still usually split almost smack down the middle. So, we've got, for example, last week we published an article. Malcolm did a no boil Berliner Weiss compared to a version that was boiled post souring for 45 minutes, and he was pretty convinced before he collected the data that the boiled version was just going to win out preference and everything. And sure enough, the triangle test was very significant. Very few people got it wrong, but preference was split right down the middle, which to me is almost more fascinating than the actual distinguishability data that we gather.
Yeah. You know what I hate about me is that I don't know anything.
You're pretty dumb.
I'm like tasting these three, and I thought I had it licked like right in the beginning, and then I keep tasting, and then I'm like, I don't know anything. But I'm going back to my first guess. And Marshall, I'm going through your survey. Am I a general beer drinker, a craft beer enthusiast, a home brewer? I'm not a pro judge or BJC, and I'm not a pro. I don't know which of the first three I am.
Is there an unrecognized?
Yeah, where is
BJCB?
Why can't I have other?
That's the provisional, I believe, is what they call that.
I think I'm an enthusiast. I'm a craft beer enthusiast, right? I get enthusiastic every now and then about beer. Here we go. All right, I'm doing that.
Love things and stuff.
Do that. Okay.
Truth is, we actually don't use that data for much.
I was going to say, I like how you're asking questions about the just stop it.
I don't like failing at tests. Right. And I feel like this is a test.
That's one that he actually can get wrong.
All right, so now I'm at the part where I pick a cup by color. I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit. I'm afraid of commitment, but I'm doing it right now. Did I get the right? I did the right one, yeah.
I see Jason and Tasty are already logged in. So.
That's right. I already did one.
Oh, and
I see that. I already know which one
I'm submitted. I'm frozen.
Okay, and all right.
Changed my mind now.
I have submitted.
Oh, I see it.
Submitted and committed.
Now we're just waiting on Warren.
No, I did. I wanted to make sure I didn't fat finger it on my phone.
I feel like I just knocked Marshall up or something.
Look it over.
I feel very locked
I hit
in.
enter, so...
It's too late now.
Yeah.
All right.
Beardy's doing some other survey.
No, I'm on to the next.
Yeah. He's filling out his...
This has my social security number.
Yeah, Beardy, that's your Comcast survey.
They're doing great.
He had 5 emails. He thought he'd answer them all.
Yeah.
I did it.
Are you submitted?
Yeah. Does he not see it?
I really like the aroma of this cup. I have an empty one here.
Oh, you do? Yeah. And now it smells really
kind
good?
Kind of pithy kind of thing. Here, smell it.
I agree with you, actually. Yeah, kind of. Well...
I didn't fart in all of them, so some have fart and some don't.
Oh, okay.
So was it just let's see, was it just Warren, Justin, Tasty, and Jason? Was that it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool, perfect. You're all logged away. I'll tell you this: one of you got it right.
Oh shit!
And that's me.
Well, at least I'm with company. If I'm a loser,
wow.
I'm my bottom.
So did everybody? Did the other 3 pick the same cup?
No. Actually, no. It's 1 out of 25%, which is less than chance. So we could say that the one who got it right was potentially a guess or a super taster. It's one or the other.
Yeah, who knows?
Hey, we're defying the odds.
All right,
no matter what.
Well, someone is. So, do you guys want me to kind of talk a little bit about the beer first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep us in suspense.
So let's see. Who did anybody want to talk about their experience with the beer? What do you think of the beers in general? If you thought they were different, if you liked the style, what kind of style you think it is?
I think it's a pale ale.
I would agree.
This is a standard basic ass pale ale.
Yeah, I would agree with that on the style.
Yeah. Why? What do you think?
It's darker than a pale ale to me. Like it's more like a red or a brown ale even. Yeah, amber at least. There's a little toasty toffee
I agree with
character.
that. I agree.
Now that I hear it, you're sounding more right, Justin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about the color because it's not in a clear cup. They're in so I didn't even look at it. I just tasted it.
You're not supposed to look at the color. Good job.
Well, no, but
thank you. You're welcome.
Can I change my answer now because I'm tasting them
No,
through them and now they're tasting different.
You hit submit.
This is what JP. You do this every time we've done this.
It is sort of a deja vu moment.
So,
I don't even know you anymore.
To answer some of your other questions, I'm not a big fan of the beer, to be honest with you. And in fact, one of the things I was trying to use as a discerning quality was that I was getting some diacetyl, and I thought, okay, now you're picking up on a strong flavor, so maybe one of them doesn't have that. And I was using that in the beginning. I later talked myself into that they all have a bit of that.
Go ahead, Warren.
Oh, I was going to say, so on my initial pass, just smelling them, I thought two smelt the same and one was different. But then tasting them, I thought a different two tasted the same and one was different. So I had one outlier just based on aroma, and then I had a different outlier based on taste.
Okay, yeah.
And so it made me kind of have to guess which one I was going to pick.
Yep.
Yeah, your triangle intersected. It doesn't work.
It's
a broken triangle.
Right. Yeah. Which ultimately kind of says that the delta, the difference between them, is close enough that accurately identifying the different one is difficult to some degree, at least, right? I mean,
yes. And in fact, that, of course, is what prompted my not that I wanted to pick none of them. I sort of knew the answer, but it prompted my question about, are you allowed to pick none? Because then you're just sort of, you're already answering the quiz, the test, the statistic. They're not very discernible. And they were close enough at one point that I could not discern. And then I ended up just going back with my first experience, my first pass, where I thought I had it nailed.
Yeah.
So, right.
And you may have.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of cheesy and cliche, but the reality is when it comes to sensory analysis, the recommendation is to go with your gut, go with that first impression, because you're especially olfactory. When you smell something and you detect that kind of subtle difference, typically it's that is. I mean, I guess I've never measured whether it's right or wrong. More often than not, but that first, what I've noticed just kind of observationally, is that first impression seems to be the one that people should go with if they want to be right.
Now you tell me. I went with my second impression, just so you know.
Well, and especially when it's really close, right? Like when you find yourself going, oh crap, they're all the same, then just go back to your first. So,
okay. Well, I didn't.
Well, damn it.
So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the beer, then we'll get into the variables and whatnot. So the beer was, I'll kind of go through the recipe a little bit. It's pretty simple. First off, and I think Jason will back me up on this one. I bottled these about 2.5 weeks ago. Got them in the mail 2-3 days later, and was sort of hoping, it's a style that you want to drink fresh as possible. And at that time, they were about 2.5-3 weeks old. I just pulled the last pint of this beer off of my tap, so out of the keg, without being bottled 3-4 days ago. And it had dropped off quite a bit. And what I was getting, I wouldn't say it was diacetyl as much as I would kind of that rounded, oxidized, like the hops had fallen off of a pale ale flavor.
Okay.
Oxidized hops,
Yeah. So
pale ale. I like pale ale.
So we're getting there.
Beers like that, like all the time happen here. When hoppy beer warms up, it'll take on that flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that all. And the other thing that I often get that with is beers with a high amount of a more kind of identifiably toasty malt. And one of the beers that you had was 100% Maris Otter. And that one, I believe, if I recall correctly, was the darker of the two, Warren. So you said you noticed one of them was more like an amber?
He wouldn't know.
No, I didn't actually look at the color. I just said they tasted like it was like an amber or a brown ale. Because the taste, I didn't actually look at the color.
He always tastes colors.
Yeah,
right, I taste in colors.
He can't see.
No.
Yeah, there is a word for that.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
I taste in textures.
So this beer was made on the 17th of October, which isn't that long ago, but the style is it's an IPA. One of the
this is an IPA.
It was listen, tell me about it.
Okay.
I was drinking it too, and I noticed. I actually had a friend who makes this style a lot say that after about 2 weeks, his fall off and become completely different, almost amber-like beers, and that's exactly what my experience was. So when you said amber, I think the beer's a little long in the tooth. So, anyways. The interesting thing is your guys' experience and your guys' results align almost perfectly with what we found for the experiment, which was actually published this morning on the website. So if you guys, so the results are there if anybody wants to go and check them out. It's the first one. You'll see that the variable was the impact of flaked oats on a New England style IPA, just for you, Jason.
You're a piece of trash.
And of course, folks at home, it's brulosophy.com. You can go check it out.
Brulosophy.com. So one of the batches, the one in the green cup. So congratulations, Justin, you were right.
Yes! See, and that's the one I wanted to change my vote to.
Yeah.
Me too.
As they warmed up, because I picked the blue one. As they warmed up, the green one shifted and became very different than the other two.
I love winning.
That was my first, just based on aroma. Green was the one, and then I tasted them, and I was like, No, I'm not sure.
Well,
blue is what I went
and
with.
I've already described it. I was absolutely certain right off the bat with my first pass that the green one was different.
Yeah.
But then the more I tasted, it just became more and more similar. Yeah. So I literally just went back. I was like, well, that's what was your first impression, so that's that.
Well, that's fucked up.
Well, you're a better test taker.
What do I win?
I got
a sticker.
An interview with Marshall for
You're doing it.
A nice Brulosophy sticker.
Go on, please, Marshall.
Give Justin 2. That'll be the price.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's two different styles.
I'm excited.
What a millennial.
Oh, Lord. So basically, I've been kind of a hater on the whole New England style IPA thing for a while. I know.
As you should.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I had kind of invented that thinking that brewing process was what was a poor brewing process is what was causing all of the murky, hazy beers. I'm not convinced that that's not always true, but I am convinced that there are some forms of it out there that the process isn't necessarily bad, and I'm getting more and more convinced. As someone who just likes to explore different things, we're kind of on this mission right now, the Brulosophy crew and I, to really try to nail down what it is that is responsible for the haze in New England style or Northeast style IPA. And I was under the assumption that the high amount of flaked oats was at least a contributor to it. And so what I did is I made a 5-gallon batch with 100% Maris Otter, and then I made another 5-gallon batch with 82% of the same Maris Otter and 18% flaked oats, which amounted to about 2.25 pounds flaked oats for that one batch, which is more than I've ever used in an oatmeal stout. The hypothesis there, kind of conventionally speaking, being that the flaked oats one was going to hold more haze and also have a thicker mouthfeel, be more creamy, maybe a little more slick on the palate. And so the fact, what we found was out of the 19 people who participated in the experiment originally, only 6 were able to get it right, which is less than a third. Just one person, 6 out of 18 is 1/3. We had 19 people, only 6 got it right. So what we can say is that, tasters were not reliably able to tell them apart. The only thing that tasters could reliably distinguish them on is the way they looked. And I don't know if there's any left in the bottles, but if you pour them out, one of them is definitely a little bit darker.
No,
than
I still have some in my cup, and I can see it now. I didn't see it. I didn't look at it before because I wasn't supposed to.
And for me, when I was going through just smelling them, the green ones smelt different to me. It smelt sweeter than the other two.
Yeah.
Which to me, like oatmeal stouts, and like when you use a lot of oats, you can get like a sweet oaty character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if like that was overpowering the hops in that one more so than in the ones that were just Maris Otter and hop aroma.
So there's a lot of the hops falling off so quickly is something that I did some research on it over the last month or so, and why people seem to claim. I mean, I can have a Union Jack that's 2 months old, and it may not be perfect, but it's still damn good.
Yeah,
it still has that really strong hop character, maybe a little bit more malty than it would be if it was 2 weeks old. But for some reason, you look at these the New England style IPA cans that are out there, and almost all of them ubiquitously are saying, drink it fresh, don't age this thing. Which is good. I agree with that, but there seems to be something about the style that doesn't hold up the hops for as long, maybe, and I'm not sure what that is.
So you're saying it's not as shelf stable?
I think they would agree, and I don't mean to speak for anyone out there who's making this on a commercial scale or who advocates for it on a homebrewing scale, but it certainly seems to be that is kind of an accepted truth about the style at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, the polyphenols that form the haze are staling agents. I mean, it's not going to.
Yeah, I mean, you're brewing a beer that's not what you intended to brew a month after brew day. Doesn't really seem very... Because you brewed on October 16th or whatever? November 21st?
Well, some styles you brew for a certain time frame from brew day.
Yeah, but less than a month?
Well, no, right. It's the performance art of beer. Like, it tastes good right out of the fermenter.
Yeah. Watch me take
tomorrow
a shit for 4 hours.
Oh, God.
Beardy is the performance art of beer, I think. Is him as himself.
That's true.
Shitting in fermenters.
Well, he did go to like kind of an artsy school
I know.
out there in Bemidji.
He is more artsy than the listeners realize.
I think he never wanted to be a brewer. He just wanted to grow the beard, and it's a whole thing. It's a long con.
It turned out he was a shitty dancer, so he started making beer.
Maybe.
His arches are too low.
Well, so even still, and even with, Beardy, of course, is picking on some of the differences that might be from the oats, it's still not a discernible difference statistically.
Statistically speaking, there's no evidence to support the fact that adding oats to a New England style IPA is going to make it, qualitatively different, beyond appearance at least, than one that doesn't have oats.
But it could have, of course, other effects, which are things you guys are talking about. Like, could oats affect the dropping of the hops quality? Right? Like,
well, the thing is, at least in my opinion, as a home brewer, I don't tend to have my kegs around. I kicked this keg before you guys tasted both of these kegs before you guys even tasted the beers. I wanted them gone because, and I'll be honest, this is the thing that shocked me as kind of as a New England style IPA hater of the past. This was one of my favorite IPAs I've ever made until about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, up until about 2 weeks ago. And then I started to notice that kind of maltiness kind of come in and take over and really dull down the edges of that really strong, that the word juicy gets thrown around a lot. And I didn't really know what they meant until this experience. And it kind of took some of that away, turned it into that, not cardboard, but kind of that oxidized malt character that you get in an old beer.
Yeah.
And maybe it happened quicker than it would have. Maybe it's a part of my kegging and bottling process, and it's even more oxidized because I had to ship it to you guys.
Right.
Not that there's a number, but how hazy was your the beer made with oats?
They were equally as hazy. That's one of the things I thought we could spend some time talking about. Yeah, because
how do you figure that? Why that happen?
So okay, that's a good question. So I've the rest of the. Let's see the recipe here. A bunch of hops. One of the things I noticed is that in terms of amounts, Northeast or New England style IPAs aren't hopped much different than West Coast style, but the method used to hop them particularly for the dry hop stage, is quite a bit different. And that's kind of where I'm stuck, is on the different methodological approaches to brewing IPA and how they might have an impact on the haze. I think the first assumption that a lot of us have when it comes to this style, and I feel like I'm sort of advocating for it now. I don't mean to do that.
It does sound like it.
Well, no.
I've been meaning to mention that too.
To explain it doesn't mean to be acting. Yeah, no, keep going. You're doing a great job.
I've made a lot of changes in my life, and this is one.
I love that.
You're digging your heels in.
Yeah. I'm not going to dig them too deep just yet. I'm still curious.
Me either.
about
I'm
the
still
style.
open to it.
Yeah, me too. So I think a lot of people, at least I did, my assumption was that yeast was the main issue, and not, like yeast in suspension, which I'm not a fan of, even in beers that are expected to have yeast in suspension. I don't like that character.
No, in terms of a northeastern beer, to me that's a fail. It should never be yeast. It should always be polyphenols.
And that's what I think as well. And so when I was over at the conference in Baltimore this year, a really nice guy came along and shared a whole bunch of these sought after, whale beers with me. And a couple of them were. Hold on, I'm drinking here.
All right, good.
Good for you.
Yeah. So, like one of them was Green by Treehouse Brewing, another one was Julius. I think we had, Lawson's Sip of Sunshine, all that stuff. And there were a few that were pretty good. I actually enjoyed, surprisingly, and there were a few that I really didn't like. And the ones that I didn't like are the ones that I experienced that kind of gritty, yeasty character. Interestingly, somebody came along and threw a couple of these beers under a microscope, and what they found. Should I say like the beers that they were looking at? I don't know if I don't want to shit on anyone.
Well, the brands, does it make a difference what brand it is? I mean, some had something, others had another, right?
The one
that comes in a can that everybody stands in line for, that was mostly yeast, right?
I think both of these ones that the guy looked at under a scope, people stand in line for.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
they stand in line for all this crap.
Right. People like lines.
Yeah, well, and I'm not. It's not a bad thing.
You don't have to mention brands, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't need a triangle test to know that beer geeks like lines.
Yeah, no shit.
3 out of 3 beer geeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So
you can use the name or not use the name. I don't care.
What do they find in these beers?
Okay, so there's a beer called Conky Dong out there by a brewery named Hoof Hearted, this guy throws on some Conky Dong under a microscope, and what he finds is that there's a ton of yeast in suspension in that beer. And if you look at that beer, it looks like fermenting beer still. I mean, it has a very kind of yeasty, milky look to it. He then took some Green by Treehouse Brewing, which is another beer that I've tried that I thought was really good. Threw that under a microscope, and as hazy as it is, there's essentially no yeast in suspension, no more than you might expect to find in a West Coast IPA, maybe an unfiltered version of a West Coast IPA that's clear though.
Okay.
And so that kind of left me with the question, well, then what's causing the haze? And we just happened to be doing an experiment at HomebrewCon last year on fining of a Northeast style IPA. I use Northeast and New England interchangeably, and it's annoying me.
I figured it was the same.
We're going to be our own country here. We don't care.
No.
I know. God. And so we did an experiment where we brewed up a similar version of the beer that you guys are drinking and fined one with gelatin and the other one without. And in our experience, at least with gelatin, it'll drop almost everything out. The one thing that it seemed not to at the time was a beer with a really high proportion of flaked oats or really any unmalted adjunct that is known for having high protein content. So, and that was how this experiment that you guys are doing was born. Is, well, if that's the case, and except I didn't want to fine it, what impact does flaked oats have? I've used flaked oats in numerous beers and had them drop clear when I fine it. If I were to compare a beer with 18% flaked oats to one that's just 100% base malt, I'd expect at least the base malt one just to drop a little bit more clear than the other one, but it didn't. That wasn't the case. Now, so one of the other things that regarding yeast that the brewers of this style talk about is that there's like 3 main yeasts that they use. Probably the most popular one is the Conan strain that comes from the Heady Topper, the Alchemist. Also goes by the name Vermont through a bunch of yeast companies. Another one is Y Yeast 1318, which is their London Ale 3, and that's what I used in this one. That seems to be the one that's gaining the most traction right now among brewers of this style. And there's a lot of talk about how these, otherwise relatively flocculent English strains that produce a lot of esters while fermenting are able to interact with the hop compounds, particularly the oils that are in the hops, and through this process called biotransformation, kind of create new flavors. And so that's kind of where my focus is now, is how do we test out this biotransformation theory that people are talking about when it comes to brewing New England style IPA. And the way it's done, just to be clear, is that rather than, you brew a West Coast style IPA, you typically throw in a large dose of dry hops, maybe around day 5 or 6, once most of fermentation is done. Those dry hops hang out in the beer for a little while and then drop out, and then you can clear the beer just like you normally do. A biotransformation dry hop, on the other hand, you're tossing in just as much hops at high Kreuzen. So when the yeast is still very active, and when you do that, the idea is that the yeast interacts with those hop oils and creates, it converts, transforms certain oils into certain chemicals into other chemicals, creating new flavors that you can't get otherwise. So
So in general, esters that give unique flavors.
If you look at,
it could be oils too. It's not necessarily.
Well, the oil, when it goes through the yeast process, it changes. That's it.
Yeah,
doesn't come out oily.
What it does is it transforms the terpenoids in hops. I don't want to get too deep into that, but
don't give us knowledge or information at all. That would be fucking
well, we
terrible.
could do. It sounds like we do a whole show on that. So give it.
How dare you teach me something?
I like how you're scratching the surface, Marshall.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
I hate it.
There's only so much scratching I can do at this point.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, I will a little shout out to Scott Janish. He has a great blog where he did a complete article on the different uses of hops and how, and he had a nice big section on biotransformation, and he goes into all of the research that's there. He actually found a study that was performed in 2003 that proved that yeast does in fact have the ability to transform these terpenoids in hops. So stuff like, we all know what geraniol is, kind of that floral rose character that we get from certain hops. Through biotransformation, and at least with specific yeasts, geraniol is actually converted into what's called citronellol, I think that's how you say it, which is more of like a sweet citrus, tutti fruity, kind of rosy character as well. And so when I hear terms like juicy used to describe these beers made using this method, it seems a little bit less surprising to me or weird, because if it's creating this this chemical that's otherwise not in most beers. That's not a chemical that they're finding in hops. It's produced by the interaction of yeast and hop oils. So that's really fascinating to me, and that's kind of where we're looking to explore a little bit more.
So then the particular hop variety would make a big difference here as well.
Yes.
It would have different
Yes.
terpenes and some better suited for this process.
So a particular hop variety. Indeed, but I think what the focus is on more is a particular yeast strains. So there are people out there who claim that they've made perfect New England style IPA using US-05, and but there's a lot of question that does that have the ability to go through this biotransformation process and actually convert geraniol to citronellol or whatever else it is. And so the focus right now, it seems to me, at least in my research, is that it's not so much on hops. People, if you look at hop sheets, their data sheets, and how much oil is in each hop. We have another project we call the Hop Chronicles, and we do a lot of kind of comparing of all these different oils. Most hops have a little bit of every type of these oils, of these compounds, and so if it's in there, it's going to get converted. I think the bigger focus right now, though, is on the yeast strain.
So how it'll process these oils, some differently than others.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the theory, and I mean, there's just so much you can see. There's so much to explore with this, given it's such a young style, and it really is a controversial style, it's weird that beer is controversy to me, but.
No, this has been enlightening.
By the way, I agree, and yet it seems to be half my fucking life that beer is controversy.
It is,
but
it's true.
But it's silly. Yeah, it's same with like beer both are silly.
Now you mentioned that. So we're talking about the London Ale 3 yeast and what it does to the hops. What about all this protein that you put into the recipe? How does that come into play?
So that's a good, I can't really answer that. What I can say is that I've used, I'm a big fan of, I like to have a couple of stouts on every year or so, and oatmeal stout in particular. And I remember my first really good oatmeal stout I made, I called it like oatmeal cookie, and I served it to all my friends. And of course they thought it tasted like an oatmeal cookie after I told them that. And then I would look at it kind of through the glass, and I would notice that it was crystal clear, and it didn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. And then I made another stout, and it kind of just tasted like that one, and it was really the same recipe just without the oatmeal. And I started asking myself even back then, to what extent am I tasting this oatmeal? Am I perceiving this slickness or this better mouthfeel purely on confirmation bias, just because I'm expecting it to be there? Because I should say, on the experiment that you guys just did, I did it 4 times, I believe, in quasi-blind triangle tests where I had other people serve them to me in a different order in different cups, and I got it right once. So my record is as good as the 4 of you combined. I can't tell them apart. And so I'm starting to question the extent to which oats, at least at that proportion of the grist, really makes a difference, even for now. We'll test it out, but even for styles like oatmeal stout. Another interesting article that Scott has on his website, scottjanish.com, is one that he actually discusses the uses of flaked oats and refers to some research that's been done that I believe it shows that you really can't perceive the impact of flaked oats up until about 30% of the grist, which is that's pretty wild. That's really high. So
yeah.
Beardy, are you taking all this down because
your oatmeal stout sucks?
Is somebody recording it? Could I listen to it later somehow?
Let me make sure that's still
some sort of compressed format,
digital audio.
Yeah,
file?
Marshall will be publishing it on Brulosophy.com.
Oh, great!
You can check it all out there.
I'm glad that Scott guy has an easy-to-spell last name, because that makes going to his URL amazing.
Janish.
There you go.
Janish.
Sounds too much like Danish.
Janish. It's a really, really neat website. The guy's got some cool calculators and some really cool articles. He does a lot of research on this stuff. So
I've heard from a mutual friend who shall remain nameless that they spoke with a couple people who do these style of beers, and they seem to think that adding a lot of hops into the whirlpool will actually kind of whip up these hop the acids in the hops and the oils in the hops to help keep them in suspension and kind of lend some of that weird flavor. Have you experimented with anything like that?
So we've done a whirlpool. I recall back in the days of Brewstrong, listening to Jamil and Tasty talk about how a 20-minute, if you're not a commercial brewer, you can do a 20-minute edition and get away, and it basically replaces a 20-minute whirlpool if you're looking at the amount of hops used and swapping them out. So we actually did that. We did an experiment where we compared 20-minute hop addition in the boil to a 20-minute whirlpool, same amount of hops, one or the other, and they were indistinguishable. People could not tell them apart. And so just based on that alone, and both were crystal clear, both came out just fine. There was, so there was nothing resembling a Northeast style IPA. Now, we didn't use, this English yeast, or we didn't use flaked oats, and we didn't do a biotransformation dry hop or anything like that. So. But I don't think the whirlpool adds much, because look at what you're doing. You're taking basically boiling hot wort, or maybe chilling it down to 170 or something, dropping in a bunch of hops. It's like a moderately warm dry hop, And I dry hop beer all the time that drops clear. So. And
at professional breweries, you're still typically above 200. So you're just throwing in those hops, and most of those oils are getting volatilized right when you dump them in.
Exactly.
Especially with how long the batch is sitting before it's totally knocked out.
Yeah, and it seems to me to be on a qualitative scale, no different than a 20-minute or 15-minute boil edition for a home brewer. So, and I know another one of the big things with this style, and something that I did for this experiment, is kind of the opposite. We do a really low chloride to sulfate ratio here in the West Coast. We like high sulfite beers. I think Tasty, your water's like 320 ppm of sulfate or something like that.
250 to 300.
It's the same difference. Yeah.
Yeah, dummy.
Yeah, tasty.
God. And another thing.
I mean, he did that off of memory, for God's sake. Just to give him a break.
What other of Tasty's water stats do you know?
How many took else in there?
Fucking stalker.
He's got the 2 spigots on the left side of his house. On the south end, he's got 2 doors.
He wears blue underwear on Saturdays.
I thought you were the paper guy. I thought you lurking out there. Huh? Reading my paper. I think I saw you out there.
Yeah, that was me. In your blue underwear.
Oh.
Man.
It's gotten colder. I'm wearing sweatpants.
Video of that.
So there was a lot of theory that they do a high chloride to sulfite ratio up to 3-to-1, which is pretty impressive. So for this beer, I was closer to it's in the article. I don't have it up in front of me now, but I was closer to like 150 ppm of chloride to about 50 of sulfate, something like that. Maybe a little bit higher.
What's the intent there? What does that do to the beer? Why that?
It's all the stuff that we've been taught about water chemistry. That higher chloride is going to give you that rounder, fuller mouthfeel.
And accentuate the malt character in the beer.
And that to me is one of the biggest things that I'm concerned is maybe responsible for the quick deterioration of this style in terms of shelf life and how long it lasts. But there's a lot of hypothesizing that's going on out there that high chloride ratio up front, right as soon as the beer is done, is what really holds up the hop character. So you don't get that sharpness, you don't get the that kind of hop punch that we expect here on the West Coast. You get more of that rounded. Again, I'm going to use the word, but that kind of juicy, really full mouth coating hop character from the beer.
Well, yeah, you're kind of hitting on one of the reasons I think the beer is popular amongst new drinkers is that it muddles it takes the hop edge off the beer. You're getting all the hops.
It takes your bitterness down, man.
But it just kind of takes the edge off with the high chloride to sulfate ratio.
My theory is if you like juicy IPA, you don't like IPAs. You should be drinking pale ales.
It's like an IPA with training wheels.
Yeah.
Do a few of these and you go to the big guys.
Yeah, it's the IPA for people that don't like it.
Right. Like Coors Light is the beer for people who don't like beer.
See what you started, Marshall.
I didn't start it. I think I'm spinning it, but
yeah.
Well, it's been very interesting. Thanks for all the information.
This triangle test proves that East Coast IPA or New England IPA is inconsistent, and the results are inconclusive.
I was afraid this would happen.
Indiscernible,
right?
Actually,
yeah, at least indiscernible.
The difference,
right.
Yeah.
And if we remember, Justin did not want any of them.
I'm the only one who picked the right one.
Well, you picked the right one, but you did not want any of them.
I actually didn't admit that. I just asked the question, what if is it possible to not pick any of them?
Can I not pick any of them?
Yes.
And
can I opt out of this test, Professor?
More importantly, now I know why I should just give this show over to Marshall. He's really great. He's also the only person who talks more than fucking Beardy over there.
It's true.
Which I like, because then I can shut up. I don't like when Beardy does it, but I like when Marshall does it.
Right. Well, because Marshall says things that are comprehensible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he can see better.
So, in other words, F. Beardy, thumbs up,
Marshall.
Up Marshall.
Yeah, right.
I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, if
F. Beardy up Marshall.
If this was a Reddit show, Marshall would get upvoted.
Yeah, that's right. We're up. Can you create a survey for us real quick, Marshall,
I don't know
that we
what
can
Reddit
log
is.
into and upvote you and F. Beardy?
That's the triangle test. It's 2 photos of Warren and 1 of Marshall.
Marshall, I'm glad all of your hard work has resulted in this.
In this ending.
Bev, I don't expect anything like tonight. Come on to the show.
Well, you should, because we're going to get there.
Yeah, you should expect less.
Don't worry about it.
That's a good point.
Well, this was a great experiment, especially because I won everything.
You won everything, yeah.
And
clean the board.
See, now I know why we have you on so much, Marshall. This is a really good experiment. Thank you for sharing the information with us.
Yes,
and go to Brulosophy.com and check it out, because we certainly won't post any results. But Marshall...
They're already up there. We just published them this morning. Go read for yourself. You can read all of the methods. You can watch the whole brew day unfold. And,
It's very fascinating. And Marshall mentioned the Hop Chronicles, which is a kind of a cool project they were doing. So check that out, too, on their website. If you want some good data on hops and how to use it, basically.
In fact, I think Marshall, we'd have you back after you've done a few of the Chronicles, just to talk about that, because it sounds like there's so many variables there that could be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, that's a neat project that was suggested to me by one of the contributors that we've got about a year and a half ago, and some really cool sponsors came along. Nico came along and has offered to has offered to sponsor it by providing the hops for it. And basically, what we do is we make a single hop beer and have blind tasters evaluate it just for hop character.
Oh.
Pretty cool.
Warren, you're blind. You can taste it.
I should be such a good tester.
I like that you're putting blind people to work, Marshall. I feel
we need jobs too.
It's a public service.
I'm doing my part in this new world we live in.
Comrade Marshall.
Yeah. Next time we're going to do, I don't know. I don't want to.
Small dick job.
I know.
Now you're worried about offending people?
I was trying to pick which group of people I was going to offend, and I couldn't pick one. So
I need some guy to measure 4 milliliters of water from my eye dip with her wiener.
Oh, God.
The Small Dick Chronicles?
Dick Chronicles.
Okay. You're welcome, Marshall.
4 millimeter wiener.
Well, hey, just feeding me ideas here.
Speaking of Nico Brew, they've got the hops that you're looking for, from your standard recipe staples to those hard-to-find ones. After 7 years, they're still offering their famous $5 shipping. And with super fast turnaround, you'll be brewing in no time. All the hops are nitrogen flushed and vacuum sealed, so Marshall is going to get the best, all in Mylar packaging, to make sure you get the freshest hops available. And they also have commercial accounts available for pro brewers and homebrew shops. And coming soon, a complete line of pro brewing equipment, custom-built fermenters, brew houses, you name it. Check it all out at nicobrew.com today. All right, Marshall, thank you so much for being on with us once again, and keep up your hard work over there, because one of us has got to do good things for the beer industry.
Oh, you guys are doing great things. Appreciate you having me on again, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for sending the beer, too. Cheers, man.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right, there you go. Marshal Schott from Brulosophy. Smart man. Go to brulosophy.com. You can read about the results we just talked about, and so many other experiments, too. And I really enjoy listening to him. He reminds me a lot of the Freakonomics guys. Which is I don't listen to many podcasts, but that's one I'll throw on every now and then. And he's got I like his delivery, like a very casual yet knowledgeable delivery.
Right.
So yeah, he kind of reminds me of that same approach of the Freakonomics guys. I like it.
Well, it's kind of what I was saying, like before. Sorry, where it's like that he can go in depth if you need him to about the topic which he's speaking on.
And he also, and this is what I like about the Freakonomics guys, on the same note you're saying, JP, he knows his audience well enough to know whether to go further or not.
Right.
So he knows that I'm an idiot and could stop at some point and then maybe go just enough so that Tasty could ask some more questions, but then I'm going to pull in the reins here for a second.
Yeah.
That's good presentation.
That's good.
I think. And that's what I like about the Freakonomics guys too. Like they can get super nerd on you.
Yeah.
But they have a pretty broad audience of dummies like me.
We should just do a Brulosophy show.
Yeah.
You should do a monthly podcast.
I think it's a good idea.
Justin will never listen to it.
Oh, I'll never listen to it again, but I'd happily put it on.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. He needs a good co-host, though. He still needs a good co-host.
Well, we don't have any of those.
None of those.
I'm racking my brain.
Me too. Bev will do it.
Yeah, maybe Bev.
Bev should.
Nothing comes to mind.
Bev's a really good co-host, I will say.
Yeah.
You did say it.
I will again if you want me to.
All right. We're going to take a break right now.
We're done. We're going to go eat.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, we're going to take a
we're
break
done.
and come back.
One more break.
Go check out beersmith.com right now. Get your free 21-day trial of the Beersmith brewing software. It'll help you brew better beer. It'll do all the things that you don't even know you need it to do. And then some. I think it'll actually perform triangle tests for you.
It will tell you the answer.
Yeah, you download it to your machine, pour the beers onto the machine, and it'll tell you if it can tell the difference.
Oh, wow.
Don't hold me to that, but I know it does a lot of things I don't know that it does. Get your free 21-day trial and find out for yourself over at beersmith.com. Brad works hard on that to make he makes the software a lot smarter than I am, so that's a good thing. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap some things up. We got Twitter game results, and I don't know, we're going to drink a beer too. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. At the end of the night, when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore. That's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out.
What?
Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love.
With love?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where?
Moylan's.
You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
BN Army, have you heard the latest at Hop Tech? Since Hop Tech has doubled in size after a huge expansion, Jade and Roberto can stock even more of the best quality homebrewing supplies and equipment. Over 60 kick-ass varieties of hops and malts, monster truckloads of quality brewer's yeast, including White Labs, Y-yeast, and multiple dry yeasts. They even have all grain systems from Grainfathers and Ruby Street Brew Systems, thanks to Jade, the brand new all-grain brewer. And don't forget about their 10% discount to all BN Army members. Jade and Roberto are waiting for you and all of your brewing questions over at hoptech.com. Hoptech, totally not sucking since 1983.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
Hey guys, what'll it be?
I'm not sure. What do you recommend?
A lot of people seem to like the Hefeweizen.
Is that a German Hefeweizen or more of an American-style wheat beer?
I'm not sure, but I can give you a taste.
Okay, great.
The Cicerone Certification Program certifies and educates beer professionals in order to elevate the beer experience for consumers. Unfortunately, not every bar is staffed with certified beer servers who can guide their customers through a beer list.
Here you go, guys. Let me know what you think of the Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely more of an American meat. But I can hardly tell because this beer just smells like sour butter. I wonder how long it's been since they cleaned the draft line.
Yeah, and look at the bubbles on the side of the glass. It's filthy.
Somebody should tell these guys about the Cicerone program.
For sure. How about we head somewhere else for another beer?
Your server should give beer the same respect you do. Request quality. The Cicerone Certification Program offers 4 levels of beer certification, in-person classes, and course books for beer professionals. Check them out at cicerone.org. The Cicerone Certification Program. We know beer.
Hey, this is Julian Trego from Beechwood Brewing, and you are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right. A couple things left to do here.
Let's do them.
Just
Let's
a couple.
do a little housework.
Don't forget about Adam and Eve.
No,
I haven't forgotten.
I would never do that.
No, me neither. How could you? How could anybody? They should just pay us to never do these commercials again. We don't even have to because everyone knows that you're going to get 50% off almost any item, 3 free DVDs, the free Power O vibrating ring. I mean, come on. And then free shipping. Just go to adamandeve.com, select any, just about any one item. Could be an adventurous new toy, sexy piece of lingerie, or anything else you desire. Then use coupon code BNARMY, BNARMY, and get your free Power O vibrating ring. I was hoping they were going to come up with like a turkey-themed one, you know, like the clucker, the click clucker.
Gobble.
Baste your lover in their own juices.
With the all-new click clucker.
And gobble them up.
You know?
With the power temp thermometer. You'll know when she's done.
She'll pop.
She'll pop.
Turkey dinner got you in the mood? Said nobody ever, by the way.
Hey, how's that stuffing? Wouldn't you like to be stuffing too? Oh.
No.
Do you like to stuff them dry or wet?
I'm sleepy, honey. Go to adamandeve.com right now. Use coupon code BNARMY. Twitter game. What was our Twitter game? Speaking of Thanksgiving.
Speaking of filling cavernous areas.
Yeah.
Oh. As Beverly
Hi,
walks
Bevo.
in.
Bevo's back.
Oops.
I didn't say it. I just looked and gestured very hard.
Correct. Yeah. And I was just saying hello. It's not my fault you're self-conscious about your cavernous areas.
Lick your burrito.
Your baby machine. It's fill in the blank. It's the fill in the blank series.
I love Phil.
And it was what the fuck was it?
What are we?
Thanksgiving is a good excuse
to blank.
Get
the new click clucker.
Click clucker. Yeah.
That's my entry.
Yeah.
We'll see if I win.
I usually get the click collector. Which is very different and involves a lot of maiming.
Yeah.
It's very popular in Africa, but it's
horrible.
Jim, too soon.
Is that too bad?
It's still going on. So
is it?
That's
okay.
whenever
is it not too
whenever
soon?
it's still happening, it's definitely too soon.
When the last
you're
person
right.
who had it happen died.
Thank you.
Oh, really?
Then
See,
it's funny?
I don't have like a Google News alert. I don't know.
All right.
All right.
Maybe you should be
And
more
by the
informed
way,
about the things
liar.
you talk about.
By the way,
You do have it
super
on a
liar.
Google News alert.
All right. Well, now I feel bad. Jim Gray says Thanksgiving. What was it again? It's so stupid. Thanksgiving is a good excuse to.
Yeah.
He says brew beer and hide from family while eating a tasty cookie.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bev with the good hair. That's someone's actual Twitter name. Bev with the good hair.
Okay.
Says gently massage a ham with the finest Belgian ales.
A ham.
Very right. A ham.
Huh.
Thanksgiving Day ham, man.
I guess.
Mike Shoemaker says Thanksgiving is the time to eat too much, get drunk, and fight with your family.
Well, everybody knows that.
No, that's true.
Mike,
get the fuck out of Dodge, dude.
go make
No
some
one
shoes.
likes you.
Sorry, Mike. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Right.
It's just that we all knew that.
But come on, buddy. Yeah. What the fuck? Mark Wilson says it's time to hit on your hot cousin and tell Grandma to hurry up and die under the guise of being drunk and upset by touchy step Uncle John.
Wait, did the Schumann brothers write that one in? Where did that come from?
It's a little too much, but hit on your hot cousin for sure. It's always time to do that. I mean, let's be honest.
Bevo has a
Anytime's
hot
the
cousin.
right time.
Niece cousin?
She's my niece.
I know.
Nuzzin?
Exactly.
Keese?
Go on.
Is Bevo going to hit on her hot cousin?
She should. Oh, that'd be super hot, Bevo. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about your niece cousin on her own. I didn't do the put you two together.
Oh.
I don't know what's... See, I'm getting old.
Imagine Bevo with the good hair.
The put you two together. Bevo with the good hair would be amazing at it.
My niece cousin is a twin.
What?
Whoa.
How old is her twin?
It's a Christmas miracle.
You're stupid.
Scissor cousins.
Oh.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Cousers. I don't know.
All right, go on, please.
Scissor cousins.
That's a thing.
It's a thing now. It's my new category on Adam and Eve. Mark Wilson says, no, he already said that. Tony D says, Thanksgiving is a good excuse to shit your pants.
He's
not wrong.
Is it?
He's not, yeah.
Well, that sort of
because-
implies you'd want to, and you've been looking for an excuse to do it. I mean, really? You
Well,
wanna do
it's,
that?
or you're more prone to it. But
If it happened, it would be like, okay, forgettable. You could say,
I guess
okay.
that's when you'll get the most forgiveness.
You get a pass.
Yeah, exactly. You get
Can
the
I
pass.
just point out something I don't want to admit, but I'm going to? I have sharded since I've turned 39 more times than in my entire life previously.
Like how many?
Because you stop speaking.
What are you up to?
You've been,
up to 2
yeah,
times?
you've been 39 for,
Since
what,
September.
2 months? Yeah.
I think I've sharded 3 times.
How many times previous to this?
Maybe a total of 3 in my whole life.
Really? You're advancing in rectal age that much?
Like...
Taking more chances.
Hyper speed.
It literally doesn't give a shit anymore.
I think Casey's right. I think you're taking more chances in your old age. Yeah, because now you don't give a shit. You're like, well, who
I'll
cares?
go and change my underwear.
Yeah.
I think you probably also should stop all butt play.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you don't bounce back like you used to.
I've also tripled my butt play.
Could be a little too loose back there, yes.
We're going to have to do a blind triangle test of my butthole. Figure out what's going on here.
39, bend it.
I was alarmed by the rate of increase in
Has your diet
the frequency
changed?
of your pant changing?
Actually, also a little bit alarmed.
No, my diet's the same, which is
terrible.
No, here's the thing about my diet. It's like 50-50. It's 50% absolutely terrible and 50% healthier than most of the population. There's no in between. I'm either eating, really good or really bad. Yeah. So, anyhow, carry on.
Enough of my sharding.
Okay. Ian
Luckily,
Stringer.
I've been home at my house every single time.
Well, you can take more chances.
Maybe that is part of it.
But
I
so
think Casey's
Casey's right. It's the chance to because
You're
I'm at
taking more
home.
chances.
Look, I would just love to be around when that happens just once. Like, I don't want to smell it or anything, but I just want to see the look of sadness across your face.
And I think about it every time too. Like, what if I was here? Like, because you then have to hobble off to the bathroom. There's no normal walking once you've done that.
Have you been in mid conversation with Kate?
No,
and just been like, "Hey, Kate,
I've
I gotta
always
go."
been alone. Luckily, but I then find myself on the toilet, thinking, "What would you have done if you were in the office at the Hop
you're
Grenade
shaming
right
yourself
now?"
while you're
Yes.
you have some. So I feel like. Are you pushing it out when you fart? Because look, every guy.
Yeah.
Well, good for it.
You have to push out.
Yeah. Good for you.
Is that what you're doing?
So both have happened.
Really?
More, I guess, out of the 3-ish that have happened, because I don't know, 3 or 4.
Wait a second.
Okay, 20.
I mean, I'm not keeping notches on a chalkboard or anything.
I'm sitting in it right now.
Yeah,
you're soaking in it, Marge.
Yeah. Kate's like, what are these scratches in the drywall next to the toilet?
What are these very large
Nothing,
diapers
honey.
doing here? Anyway?
I'm counting. Yeah. 2 of them were forced, and the other one was just like, I thought things were normal, and they weren't.
But because if you just let it go normally and you don't push it, it's generally not very
generally until you turn 39.
Verbose.
Anyway, I don't know what's happening.
All right, well, God bless your anus, my friend.
Yeah,
I'll keep an eye on it.
And Kate for doing your laundry.
Kate.
Ooh, there's a surprise.
OxyClean is your friend.
And Oxycontin. Let's not pull any punches.
Actually, it is, because that binds you up. I wouldn't be having this problem if I had a steady supply of Oxycontin.
Dude, like Norcos, like when I had my surgery.
Bind you up like a mofo.
Dude, I had softball in my
hurts.
anus. Oh my God, it sucked. Yeah.
Definitely the only downfall.
Yeah.
You should go to the doctor and say, "Listen, doc, I'm 39."
To the dentist.
Oh, yeah, that doc. I'm sharting way too much for 39.
I need a steady supply of Oxy.
What can you do for me?
They're like, well, normally... No, that's not going to work. I want Oxy.
And I'll say C, and then you'll come back across the border, and it'll be great.
What else do we have?
Ian Stringer says, Thanksgiving is a good excuse to drink hazy IPA. Wait, is there any excuse for that?
Why do they keep... I don't understand why they do that.
They fuel the fire?
Yeah, exactly. Why do they...
Because they agree.
Yeah.
I know, but...
How's your dishwater taste over there?
What do I have?
I was telling...
no wonder you shart your pants.
Yeah, Eric, too much protein. I was telling Eric, they're becoming so popular now in the Bay Area, you should list it on the board if it's hazy or not.
Yeah, it should be ABV.
Yeah.
And the haze factor.
I don't
There
mind
needs
this
to be a
idea.
haze number.
actually.
There needs to be a haze number.
I think that's JP. I believe it or not, I think you've just had a really good idea.
Because if it's not, because I've tried to order some beer.
You can choose.
Yeah, and I've tried to order some beer, and Eric has luckily, the first thing he's ever done nice to me is saved me from the. Speaking of Eric, there he is. He saved me from ordering hazy beers.
Beer,
because I don't like them.
But he doesn't know all of his guests, so something on the menu, not a bad idea. Guys.
And I think on the Jamil show, I called it something. Had it called Hazomatic number or some weird number.
Right.
But anyway,
it should be some sort of thing.
It's just a number between 1 and 10.
Honestly, if it's going to be a thing, which clearly it is, there should be a number for it, just like SRM.
There are
by the
numbers.
Way, we don't put the SRM value on our board, but we do show the color, general color of the beer,
whether it's a red, a dark.
So showing its opacity would be another.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
Yeah, and hey, while we're on
sours,
creating numbers,
total alkalinity on a sour beer, that'd be great. Total alkalinity.
There you go.
Well, now Jesus, tasty. Yeah. How much info do I have to put up
just
there?
one extra thing for each line.
Does the
sour
brewer
beers wouldn't care about?
Does the brewer even tell me total alkalinity? You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to get that information?
Oh, I always thought if I had my own bar, I'd say, I'll order your product if you could tell me the total alkalinity.
Okay.
And they could make up a number and I could use it.
That's what I'm thinking. Is they're going to make up a number for
Well,
you?
I would over time, my customers and me would go total alkalinity of 40. That's a real that's going to really get me. You're going to know.
So we would end up with a common scale.
Yes.
Is what
you just end up with a scale.
turbidity.
You end up with a scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Super tart to not super tart.
Yeah, we don't need to know whether it's 85 or a 90. No, 8 or 9 is fine.
Okay, 2 more. Rich S. says, Thanksgiving's an excellent excuse to snort bath salts to immune yourself to pain as you crush children's dreams on Black Friday.
Whoa.
Very intense.
Ooh.
I like his intensity, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, Panther Hollow says, Thanksgiving is a good excuse to stick your dong in a can of jellied cranberry sauce without the usual judgment.
Winner.
All right, there you go.
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree.
Just take it out of the can first. There could be a sharp edge.
I did it last year. Not one single judgment.
Not the usual judgment.
Not the usual. Yeah,
it's a different kind of judgment.
The day before, when Kate caught me doing it, total judgment.
Too soon, Justin.
But on Thanksgiving Day, she was like,
"Go ahead,
hey, buddy, good for you." She calls me buddy when I do weird shit. Like, hey,
you've earned it.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud.
Well done. All right. Well, that's our Twitter game. Good one.
So we know what you're doing in 4 days. 3 days.
Who won?
I have 15 cans of... some of them have the actual cranberries in it. Some's just the jelly.
For texture.
Yeah.
Do you buy just the can that's all molded to the can so you can see the indentation of your...
Okay, so I'm just going to say right now, this is an indication of one's white trash factor, which is another measurement. Yes. I will only eat cranberry sauce that looks like the can mold.
They come out of the can
and I do not want the lumps in it either. I want a full gelatinous lump of can.
Yes.
It's the only cranberry sauce worth eating in my book.
Yes, you need to see like Lauren said, the ridges on the side, even the bottom. I don't want it smashed up and cut up. I don't want give me it's standing upright like a tower. I get to slice it
on a plate.
And this is
the numbers indented in the bottom.
Yes, exactly. And this is how you know that JP and I have a very high white trash factor. Because
I am from Livermore.
There is more flavorful cranberry sauce out there. I just don't enjoy it.
No, I think it's great just the way it is.
Yes.
Yeah, just a little tiny bit.
Yep.
What are your feelings on KFC coleslaw?
Okay, of the coleslaw variety, it's perfect.
Exactly.
I'm not a big coleslaw fan, but if I'm going to eat it, KFC?
Right.
Yep.
Above all other better tasting coleslaw.
Yes, with more natural ingredients and so on and so forth. No need for that.
There's the one, it's super sweet, right?
Yeah. It's pretty,
but it's got a little thin vinegar wateriness to it. It just hits the right spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
No, it's got
actually
acid balance.
It's like beers from BJ's. They're just middle of the road. They do it. Everything's
People pleaser.
fine. It's fine.
Everything's
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Chew a little and swallow. It's fine.
It's all right.
We have a very high white trash factor in this studio.
Well, we are all white, and this show
And
is trash.
trashy.
So,
Yeah.
it's fine.
And trashy.
All right, but the people who aren't trashy are the people over at Great Fermentations.
That's right.
Great Fermentations has the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web, and don't forget Blickman's giving away a Brew Easy right now.
Ooh.
So, and their staff at Great Fermentations is some of the best trained in the biz using Blickman products. They offer top-notch customer service and same-day shipping on many items. Check them out at greatfermentations.com. You can also like them on Facebook. That's GR8 Fermentation. And find them on Instagram and Twitter under the same handle, GR8 Fermentation, the number 8. Go check them out. You can get all of their updates and more, and visit them at greatfermentations.com. They're a great company that's been supporting us, and we hope you'll support them too. All right, well, that might about do it, right?
I think so.
I think we've done our job tonight, Tasty.
Yeah, I think
Beardy,
we got this one in the book.
JP.
Yeah. Let's go down the checklist.
We did a job.
I came, I drank, I'm ready to go. Yeah, I got it all.
Done. All right, we have no show next week because we like that.
Because I'm going to be going to the Doe's meeting then.
Oh, are you?
That's why we're not going to do it.
That's not the it's not the Doe's holiday party yet, is it?
No, it's
That's the next month.
That's like next week. I mean, it's in early December.
They do it the last Monday of the month?
Yeah.
Yeah, the club meets last
I think we have a show on the Christmas party one, but
yeah, we
okay.
did.
So, all right. So Monday is your Doe's meeting. Thanks again, by the way, to Matt and Vito.
Yeah.
From Doe's for coming in here. And, okay. So no show next week. And then what do we got coming up next month? Some good stuff, right?
Yeah, we have Patrick Rue, I believe, on the 5th.
From the Brew.
From the Brewery.
Brewery.
And I literally just figured out why it was spelled that way.
Bevo.
No, I'm
like just now?
No, not right now, but
Okay.
like
as you were booking him?
this week.
You're stupid.
Wow.
For so long, I was like, this is the stupidest way to spell brewery. And then I realized it, and I was like, oh.
Were you running the show the last time he was on? Maybe not.
No,
he
I was
hasn't
not.
been on for years. I've been trying to book
But
this
he has
asshole
been
for
on, and
years,
he's
too.
great, too. He's going to be fun.
He's great. He's a good
so
dude.
smart. Good dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We've had all of his brewers and ex-brewers, I think,
Right.
on the program.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
but we
one
haven't
has
had
a
him on
program
since like the
himself.
beginning. Yeah.
Jay used to work there from the Rare Barrel.
Yeah. All right, so we got some good shows coming up in December, and lots of fun things happening. So let me find your song here for you, JP.
Oh, okay.
Your outro.
So you got to type in asshole. There it is. It comes up. Yeah.
He's got 6 songs.
You know, I don't get to type that word in often enough. You know what I mean?
Also,
JP?
asshole, rather?
Asshole, yeah. I only get to do it 3 times a month.
Well, I'll tell you what. Just change my contact name in your phone from JP to asshole.
It's a fucking great idea.
Right? It's amazing.
Then when he calls you, it'll say asshole. You can giggle.
JP.
I don't want to talk to this asshole again.
Yeah, right. He's probably going to shart in my ear.
Damn it, can we not talk about sharding anymore, okay?
Yeah, that's the last time I'll bring it
Does
up.
that increase the frequency?
I don't know, but I feel like I revealed it to you guys now. Now we let it go for a while.
Just like a shart.
Literally never, ever going to happen.
Spoken like a true sharter.
It happens, you let it go. All right. We'll see you in a couple weeks, everybody.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Thanks to Marshall from Brulosophy.com for teaching us about triangle tests, flaked oats, and love. Also thanks to Matt and Vito from Club Does for talking about turbid things. Merge your love of Disneyland with your lack of engaging podcasts and go to earsuppodcast.com as JP, Terrence, Bevo, and Taryn talk about all things Disney. Go check out Moscow's Hop Cartoons over at hoplifestore.com. Get on Twitter for some good beer insight and homebrew info, and follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDowell at Tasty McD, JP at Major Jip, and Warren is stuck over in cyberspace at Another Beardy. Today's show is produced by JP, and your host has been Justin Crossley. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy and winning the race. JP